I don't know. I just remember Jeffrey Combs as Ratchet, like always throwing me because I'd already seen so much Star Trek at that point.
For me, the wildest thing is just that uh Frank Welker plays Megatron,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
aka Fred from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Time for some unhinged scheme.
That implies you're hinged at any point.
Yeah, I think we left the hinges at home a long time ago.
Oh, that would make every scheme unhinged, so you really don't know what's going to happen, do you?
Yeah.
Welcome to me
No,
GMing you
you
this bloody
carry
crew.
Just
you
add
carry
some more
around
to the
a
surprise.
pocket of spare hinges, but none of
My
them are
God.
standardized.
Well,
So you can hinge slots as required, but they won't have the same hinges anytime.
I just had
Anyone ever tell y'all you're all a bunch of dorks?
What?
Frequently.
No.
Rylov technically has something akin to Schrodinger's cat, except it's Trailblazer's gun. Does he or does he not have it at any point in time? You won't know until it's observable.
And when it's observable, it's shooting you.
You have merged Chekhov's gun and Schrodinger's cat into one item.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
don't
on the
know.
back of that, hello
Okay,
everyone.
go ahead. Let's start.
Hello everyone. I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbinian, and this is the Electric Metropolis video game tour. And today is an episode of Halanak Station, a Star Trek Adventures tale. And we return away from the toil of post-secondary education in the far future to the most professional and upright of far-off stations and tenuous political agreements. So, as we go back to stardate 60750, so more or less current date, just after the Romulan rescue attempt was tried and unfortunately failed at the last moment. And as the ship, the Gilded Star, makes its return, there is some business and bureaucracy that the Harmonizer Kovac and merchant captain of the Gilded Star must attend to. However, the Admiral has learned of an issue that needs an emergency session to address. I open the floor to the Admiral for the log. This is a 2-threat game.
Rookie numbers.
Why would you say that?
Because it's true.
Yes, Admiral. Log in the Discord that you can
Oh,
adjust.
I completely tuned out. You're good.
I see how it is.
Yeah, thanks for poking me. Admiral's log, stardate 60750. The Free Information Sphere has made an urgent appeal to Starfleet, requesting our assistance with a critical situation unfolding on Savicast Prime. This planet, rich in the search for inheritor ancient ruins, has recently become the epicenter of a troubling incident. Containers of spent fuel rods have been found improperly disposed of, causing severe contamination in the sector. Additionally, reports from the site indicate that powerful, mesmerizing forces are affecting the investigating teams, obscuring their perception and impeding their efforts to address the contamination. To respond effectively, we are holding an emergency session to plan for our response. USS Oneneros, under the command of Captain Rael, is also within range and will be assisting in this mission. Our primary objectives are clear: investigate the ancient ruins to understand the source of these mesmerizing forces, secure and contain the contaminated sector, and counteract the psychological and physical effects impeding our teams. This mission is not without its challenges, but with the combined efforts of Starfleet and the FIS, I'm confident we will overcome them. As we proceed, maintaining constant communication with the USS Onaneros will be crucial coordinating our efforts in ensuring the safety of all personnel involved. The successful resolution of this mission will not only mitigate the immediate environmental threat, but also provide valuable insights into the ancient civilization that once thrived on Savicast Prime. End log.
And to Halanak Station we go. As Rear Thralic is able to assemble Commander Carpenter, Lieutenant Ven, and Centurion Ryloff to this emergency. I will note that the Victoria is present, but he's not part of your Admiralty staff, so he's not looped in currently, since he has his own missions and his own fleet to.
Got it?
Getting his aid would be very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But the Onaneros is loosely under your command because it's sort of on the generic Shackleton mission in the Hackleton area.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
So question, who is captain of the Da Vinci A right now? Is it still hologram lady Haifa?
Hologram lady.
I was trying to remember her name.
The hologram, Lady
Haifa.
Haifa, Your Majesty.
Don't think it's under Haifa currently.
I don't think we've designated an NPC for the Da Vinci.
No.
We should
Okay.
at some point designate an NPC captain, I think.
That's kind of the problem. You're kind of in that. That's why the next meeting was gonna be about was trying to pick out what your new fleet was gonna turn into, but you kind of got this emergency kind of popped up, so you're kind of caught in between your previous mission and now this emerging problem.
Yeah, basically my options are to assign Carpenter as temporary command of the Da Vinci, or take it out myself, I think.
Oh, what? No, there's another option. Clearly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no. Look, it was fine. It was fine when you were the exchange officer to the Da Vinci. But I don't think it's fine now.
Tragic.
Uh-huh. That's my ship. Alright, so do we have Captain Rail? Cool.
You can put her on the line if you want her to be as part of the briefing. She's currently in system already. The Onaneros tried to deal with this on their own, and then they were closer by and heard about the problem and tried to do something, and then they pulled back once they realized about the mesmerizing forces. Like, okay, we're gonna wait till the Admiral hears about this and we'll figure out what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at that point, yeah, I will want to loop her into this meeting. Get Captain Rail on screen. Captain, is there anything else you'd like to go over about your encounter with the mesmerizing forces thus far? Any scans on their specific nature or experiences from telepathic crew members that might be of assistance?
Onaneros crew was able to figure that out. They are a talented crew, so they have a total, the target number of 13, discipline of 3. The difficulty to have useful information, I will say, is 2. Do you wish to have them buy additional dice? I will note the captain will assist with this role, because Captain Rial would be involved. And she just would be mostly on the... Well, she wasn't the person there, she's the person seeing it after the fact.
Yeah. Question, can I assist with this as well?
As you look over it,
Cool. At that point, I don't think the crew needs to buy any dice, because they'll have to...
I mean, assuming they hit one in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, and the ship, too. Sensors, science. And they are a ship that has high-resolution sensors, so... believe that does something.
Difficulty down. Or no, that's
That gives him an
advanced.
extra question.
My resolution is, yeah.
They're having the roll flat.
I think it's probably fine. And then we see double zeros come up. Yep, there we go.
Oh, was it actually?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a true double zero. Yep, they failed.
That's true double zero. Doesn't look like actual comps though, so that's something. Cool.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the crew, we ran into various complications, Admiral, regarding the site. Most of we were moving to with small craft to approach the area, so we didn't endanger the Onaneros. But unfortunately, it turned into a rescue mission where all priorities shifted to rescuing the crew and isolating them in sickbay.
Understood, Captain.
So that means the crew are still under some form of effect? If
Yeah.
I've understood correctly?
Correct. We had hoped that proximity was going to alleviate whatever field or sonic wave front that was there, but whatever it is, it's with them. Our doctor is still trying to figure out exactly what's happened. In the meanwhile, they've all been put into stasis until we can withdraw back to Halanak Station or perhaps even Narendra Station for in-depth examination. It's just on the unannounced, we just simply don't have the capacity to deal with something this extraordinary. Now, without taking great risks, which I'm not keen to take if I don't have to.
Question, GM. How close is the Unaneros right now?
They're in system. They're in the Sephir's system.
All right. All right, Captain. I think. All right. Actually, first, Jim, how close is that system? Sorry, I know it's pretty close. Like, I think
It's in sector.
they could probably get back here pretty quickly.
It would take them. Have the speed of the Achilles, so.
They have the speed of Achilles but not Mercury. They don't go quite that fast.
They have the speed of a regular, pretty athletic guy, not the speed of the god of messages.
So
Yeah, what they really want is the courage of Achilles. You see.
Well, I mean, I think Achilles could beat me in a foot race. I would take the speed of Achilles.
I mean, I think the speed of Achilles is pretty good, but you want the courage of Achilles paired with the wisdom of Solomon.
Right. Okay.
Speed of Mercury, all that.
Nah, just the touch of Midas, thanks.
you estimated you roughly estimate that the Onaneros could get back within about 24 hours if they go at full 9.97.
Okay. Has your medical staff attempted to construct or set up psionic shielding around sickbay, Captain?
So there's another role involved. As she reports on how well her medical staff did. Same numbers, 10 and 3. Difficulty is 2. To have appropriately contained it in a clever way.
Well, as part of a confirmation bias, obviously we buy a die this time.
Buying a die for a single threat.
Yeah.
Oop. Get structure medicine because special shields. Captain assists. You all assist. The ship just has to get a hit. There it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Or and There she is. There she is. This with presence command, honestly, because she none of her focuses really apply. Values on. So we're getting 3, 4, 5, 6 on a difficulty 2. So 4 movement rated. Yes, Admiral. We were able to put in a more isolated internal shield system using the myth protocols. It was challenging to use it on a much smaller scale than ship-wide, especially for the Unaneros build. Thankfully, we're similar enough to the Achilles that it wasn't as great a task as we had feared.
I'm glad to hear that.
We hope this will isolate any sort of spread of whatever this may be.
Good. Good. And do these mesmeric fields appear at all on your sensor scans?
I'll say again.
Do the mesmeric effects appear at all to your sensors?
We believe that there is a rather dense contamination from the fuel rods that are in the system that are scattering whatever it is that may be causing this. All we're seeing is the intense subspace radiation that's permeating the area, which we had made preparations for such, but whatever it is, shields to full have no effect. Although I will admit we did not try to enable myth type shielding, but if we do that, our subspace radiation shielding will not be as effective. I imagine there's some sort of middle ground, some butter zone that will be most effective, but what that is, I don't know at this time.
What manner of fuel rods are these?
It would seem that they are a type of radiation waste disposal. In Starfleet vessels and I believe Romulan vessels, one usually allows for excess gas to build up in disposable containers and then store them until you can dispose of them in appropriate receptacles. At least that's the Starfleet protocol. But these are centralized into solid long rods that are used in some ships elsewhere in the Alpha Quadrant outside the Federation. They are far heavier, but they can withstand far more and can carry far more of the radiation and wastage and absorb it into the permeable material. However, it does mean that when you, if you were to dispose of such, you basically dump something the length of your ship that will remain hard to dispose of unless properly dumped into, say, a nebula or certain stars, that sort of thing. I've heard of this sort of thing happening in places like the Briar Patch and Typhon Expanse, the Alpha Quadrant. This is the first time I've ever seen or even read of a report like this happening in the Shackleton. None of the species out here use that style of fuel rod disposal.
And do we have any suspects on who would be polluting such an inhabited system? Free traders, hostile states, anything?
Ferengi.
Ferengi, Halshiar Romulans, the Klingons loyal to the rebel forces. Heard rumors that Breen are sneaking out here.
I don't doubt that a Ferengi would have little care for environmental rules, but Ferengi care about maintaining contracts, and if violating these rules would see them lose business, I think they would comply. Maybe not willingly, but they still would do so. It would surprise me if someone interested in making money would, well, commit what I can only assume is a criminal offense in the FIS. GM, is this a crime?
Very.
At least-
It's one of their higher crimes
Okay.
because it's environmental pollution and it's in an inhabited system. So maybe this would be a heavy.
Yeah.
This would be an imprisonable offense. Well, sorry, a not imprisonment, but a rehabilitation and containment offense.
You gotta send them to the re-education camps.
Exactly.
If they thought they could get away with it, Ferengi will do anything.
That is fair. GM, can I pull up a list of all ships that entered and exited the system at this time, just so that we can have a list of potential suspects? Like,
Yeah.
and maybe this is like a list in the thousands, but given the time span that we know these things had to have arrived at, can we estimate like who would be potential waste dumpers here? I guess we could cross reference with if we could identify the rods, perhaps make and model.
Yeah, you'll be able to look over because especially at Halanak Station, you don't have just what the Federation stores, but also what the FIDF store when they notice ships coming and going. They keep track of who's in their space as much as possible for exactly this reason. That way, someone doesn't just drop and burn, drop their garbage and run for it. It's like no, we saw you. We're gonna remember you.
You know, if you're going to litter, can you at least do it like away from where we live? All right. Reason command. Hey, that's what I'm really good at. Div 2, computer command. All right, GM, a focus in organization. This is all about
Yes.
All right. Do I have bold or cautious? I do have cautious because I'm square. All right.
Yes.
1 threat, 2 momentum.
1 threat, 2 moment. Computer command of the station.
Right.
3 R. Whoop. Whoop eventually. There are, as you guess, countless ships that come and go in this this span of space. What amounts to 3 subsectors. However, you do a bit of organizing. And go, okay, you kind of pare down any ship that doesn't have this kind of fuel rod because you wouldn't just carry that if you didn't use it. Like, why would you be walking around with waste? And even then, if they were, they would ones that don't use it, because there are some ships that wouldn't use it in that list. You've set aside ships that have the capacity and licensing to move dangerous materials, like hazardous materials like that. And also you paired off with ships that you know where they went or where they left from, and you know that they didn't go to that system, or when they did go to that system, it's known what they moved. These 10 ships are more. These are the ones that are very nebulous. All of these were in the area, had the capacity to have left the rods in some manner, and their exact movements were not precisely calculated while they were in system. Whether they were passing through or they never landed at a planet. Because if they never stop at a station, that's the precision kind of fades off once you're far away from Halanak. Halanak would watch everything around the Upantar system and beyond. Smaller stations aren't quite that equipped because this is a Savascast station. It's enough it's a glorified gas station essentially.
Yeah. yeah, the difference between you know, we're the port of New York, they're the port of a much smaller city than New York.
Bangor,
All I-
Maine.
now, now all I can think of is that that diner from near the end of Spaceballs.
Okay, so yeah, I'll say Commander Carpenter has been pretty quiet throughout this meeting. She's been, you know, on her pad, calculating something, and you know, she'll present to the group, flickering on the, like, you know, the display screen on the wall. She'll say, "This is not a guaranteed suspect list. However, I have gone over the data as we have received it of all ships that have passed through the area, eliminated ships that were not hazardous material ship, eliminated ships that were not ships that carry this fuel type, eliminated ships who we have records of their fuel disposal, etc., etc., and come down to these 10 as being not suspicious, but anomalous in some way. It's not a guarantee that one of these did it. That's not a guarantee that someone on not on this list didn't do it. However, I do think these represent 10 cases where we should investigate further."
All right. What's the distance from FIF space of these vessels?
I assume many of these ships, GM, I'll spend a momentum on the question, but I assume many of these ships have left our space or have moved on to other places.
They're outside the FAS space, if nothing else. How far away they've gone since then, depends on make and model, but on average, I would say doesn't happen recently. They're probably still in the sector, or they're either in your sector or they've moved coreward to the neighboring sector, closer to the galactic core. So, sorry, because they've at best, on average, they all would move around no better than warp 7, like maybe a little faster, maybe a little slower, but around warp 7 is, because these are like regular merchant ships, these aren't military. Or if they are military vessels, they're old, so they don't really move. They don't have modern warp.
And would dumping this material have left any identifiable trace on the suspect vessel?
That question would require a reason science roll. Difficulty of 2.
So then that's a question that's directed at Lieutenant Vent.
Yes. Yeah. Carpenter will look at you and say, "Then, off of this list, is there any way to detect one of these ships if perhaps they were responsible?"
That might be an emissions problem. Could be. Yeah, and Ven is going to indeed think about that. Reason science diff 2, you say?
Yes, and the station can assist you with computer science.
Cool. I'm just gonna spend 1 momentum for a third die. Chemistry focus. Because what is it exactly that we're trying to? We're trying to figure out which of these ships is doing what.
Which
Has
one
the-
dumped the like radioactive waste, basically?
If
Yeah,
we could scan them,
so
could we figure out from their chemical signature? Yeah.
that's why I'm going chemistry. It's like
Yeah.
I'm looking for.
I'll take it. I was trying to think of
I'm looking
another
for
discipline.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of another discipline hit it better, but not really. Chemistry is probably the best answer to the question
Yeah.
of the sciences. Beyond, like, I don't know, astrophysics, but that's a physics question. Physics question you're asking. Sort of. Oh, 2 so far. 4, so 3 total.
Yes.
You kind of do a quick look up on that type of waste fuel rod, and even taking into account certain variables that certain fuel rods made by different species have variance, and that there's still a pretty there's a constant that warp drive ships all have the same subspace radiation plasma problem. It's just by degrees of purity and yield and things like that. So, yeah, some may glow like a Christmas tree if you scan them. Others will be a dull roar. But either way, you know the way to detect if unless they do a scrub, a Verderon scrub. It's the one that they did on the Enterprise when they swept the entire ship from it.
Yeah.
That's the only way to truly clean a ship of anything. And that kind of radiation, that just sits in your cargo bay until you do that. That whole area is just hazmat until you get rid of it. If it's built into the ship, then it's built into it. You will notice that they're missing fuel rods because they dumped them. So and they probably fit in new ones, but it's obvious that they're on based on where their journey is. If the fuel rods in their ship are fresh or they're fuel rods that they've had for the last couple months.
Right. I should be able to put together a sensor algorithm that will detect a number of traces and then cross-reference against ship manifests and expected maintenance logs. And I will to bet that if your suspicions are, there'll be at least a couple in there. That
Yeah, he's not actually talking. He's just
Yeah.
breaking up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy.
And
I
we're
don't think we have
losing
any of
you.
that.
oof. Oh, hold up. Let me see what I've got.
Problems. That's what you've got.
Ah,
You were clear in the
Don't
front half, but you
say.
broke up on the latter half.
Yeah.
give me a second. I'm going to try a thing or two. Okay, that should do it. I turned down the sensitivity on my mic.
What the,
You
was it an
sound-
internet
you
problem
sound
or a
fine now.
microphone problem?
Hey, you said fine
Yeah,
now,
well-
at least, though. So,
Yeah, it wasn't an internet problem. It was that sensitivity on my mic wasn't high enough.
okay.
So it was cutting me out because
Yeah.
I wasn't talking loud enough, apparently.
How dare you? Just shout everything into your microphone like I do.
So as said, I should be able to put together a scanning algorithm that should detect traces of fuel residues, unless they were somehow able to perform a full Verderon sweep, which would leave tons of traces of a recent Verderon sweep, which would be suspicious in of itself. Otherwise, we should be able to take these readings, compare them with ship manifests, maintenance logs, and determine where the contradictions lie. Those contradictions
okay.
will be indicative of your culprit.
What's
I will
your
say-
time frame to get that sensor analysis program in place?
What is said time for it?
I will say I'm detecting a problem here. Many of these ships belong to foreign powers with less than stellar relations with either the FIS or the Federation, and many of them have left this part of the Shackleton. So why would we assume that we could track them down, let alone get them to consent to such searches? As it is to say, I believe this problem might be one of jurisdiction now. We can't enforce what is no longer available to us.
It's possible that if any of them pass back through Federation space, we may be able to get assistance from Beta Fleet. But
That's
if
true.
they go around us completely, there's not much we can do if they stay wide. I mean, we might get lucky
Getting at
and
least a solid identification on the vessel will give us something, and if we can definitively tie them back to FIS space and potential transactions, that gives the FIS some leeway on prosecuting further.
And not to mention, this is still a methodology that can be used on ships that we do have access to and do have jurisdiction over.
It's true. We could prevent this problem from ever happening again. Okay.
Jim, you said most of these were still in the same sector, though, right?
Yeah. Let me calculate.
Yeah.
So. Boop, boop. Oh, I said, do Rita.
No.
Does it matter anymore? But it kind of matters. Each of these squares is a sector.
Yeah.
So they might be.
All right.
They may still be in. They may have moved. May have gone trailing. Or spinward. And then they're still in your sector. But if they move forward at all, then they start moving into space the free information sphere has covered. If they head this way, they start moving into space that the Project Enduring Freedom and the USS Harpo might be able to deal with. They might be able to intercept people heading that way, trying to go this. But if they go like this, then that would require someone going this way to get to them.
Right. Okay. So my thinking is, if we still have a general idea of directions that these ships went on and also their maximum speeds, if we have course and speed, last known position, we can have the FIDF send out a couple quantum slipstream ships to just do a scan. We do some napkin math, see if we can catch up some of these ships, do a scan. That allows it to eliminate possibilities from this list fairly quickly.
Not really. You'd need to know that vessel's destination, otherwise the FIDF ship is simply going to be sitting there when a ship passes at a warp. How effective scanning a vessel at warp will be...
Right.
I will say, I believe we are perhaps putting the cart before the horse here. To return to the basics, sorry, let me check. We have to go to the system they want us to help clean up the mess, right? Hold on. Investigate,
To find out how to resolve it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. While preventing this problem from happening in the future is something we undoubtedly should do, I believe we should focus our efforts on the current cleanup effort, and we'll figure out if we can track down the culprits after. Which leads me to my next point.
Indeed.
Yes, Sven?
Well, in my determination of tracking down the source, I did pull up a few papers on this type of fuel rod. I think I might be able to work out some chemical remediations that will stabilize things in the short term.
That would allow us to get them to... Would it provide enough time to get them to an industrial-sized replicator to dematerialize the contaminants?
It's possible.
All right.
And the side effects of this contamination from these fuel rods, it is normal, or is this unusual?
I don't know. Is it?
For momentum, I'll answer unless you have 2 freebies. Unless you're not using your science officer one, because you were asked a question earlier about how fast it would take you to do your protocol.
I will make myself science officer, but that doesn't give me anything because science officer only procs on sensors or tricorders.
Oh, I thought it was computers as well. My bad.
I mean, then you don't
I
have
feel
to
like we've
choose
had this
until you actually-
conversation. I feel like we've had this conversation like
I keep mixing it up with something else that touches computers.
Yeah,
There's a talent that
there's
does
a talent.
computers and
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a dedicated talent that does stuff if you use computers. I think it lets you re-roll the dice, and
Yes.
yeah.
I think it lets you re-roll the dice, and the die you re-roll can also be the ships.
Yeah, that's it.
If as long as you're using computers. Anywhom, yeah, I'll spend a momentum, just like a one of our regular old momentum.
Not one of those newfangled momentum, with the regular old momentum.
So, I know we had this conversation, however, when Science Officer succeeds at a task assisted by ship's computers or sensors or using a tricorder, generate a bonus momentum.
Oh my god, Corbinian in the final quarter. You clutched it. You were right.
Sorry, I was so convinced. I was like, I was a Science Officer. I remember doing that all the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I was like, was I doing it wrong the entire time I was on the Argos?
I cared about it, but
yeah.
Whack. Okay. I've been shortchanging myself.
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, what's new?
Yeah. What was your new question? Sorry.
You, Corbinian, you sure showed me.
Take it.
Let me. Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to know it. Oh, medical. It's like the medical. We wanted to know like the medical ramifications.
Like if the effects they're experiencing are expected for this type of like fuel rod thing, or if this is completely out of the blue for the.
Yeah, for that momentum, I'll answer that. This is unusual. Fuel rods are very dangerous and they're a pain in the neck to work with. But modern starships can, especially Starfleet ships, can handle such hazardous materials. It's just a lot. It's intense radiation, so lots of shielding, lots of containment. Tractor it properly. Like the Ononero completely should have been able to do this without even talking to you. Like by the time you got the hail, they in theory could have dealt with it locally and said, "Oh, sorry, we did the mission for you. Do you mind?" Sort of thing. Like it only takes like a few hours to do for a ship that big. Be really hard to do with a small size ship like a Nova. Nova would be like, the rod's longer than we are. What do you want us to do? But the hallucinations and mesmerizing effects, that's weird. That's not that's like saying warp plasma causes you to hallucinate. That's not. I mean, it can in the sense that if you breathe it, but like if you're breathing plasma, you're probably also on fire. So
Yeah. I mean, that's
You might be
glue
hallucinating
doesn't
as you
normally
die.
do that, but if you dedicate yourself to huffing it, it can.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So I will say, the medical symptoms being observed aren't consistent with there's a secondary cause, or there's something odd about the contamination itself, which would require I get a sample in order to verify.
All right. Considering the presence of suspected inheritor ruins and their potential interaction, I'm going to at least be dispatching you, Lieutenant, to help with this cleanup and investigation effort.
Yes, that is what I was going to ask. Admiral, are we deploying the Da Vinci to handle that problem? And if so, are we going along with the ship? Or, its command crew is in a state of flux, and perhaps the steady hand of us experienced officers is needed on a mission of this importance.
Out of character, does Carpenter have a starship experience specifically? Like, has she been an XO?
You would know that Carpenter has, I think every Starfleet officer has done at least some time on a ship, but she has done very little. She has been in administrative and analysis parts of command for her whole career. And
Got it.
she will take the job and she will do it to the best of her abilities, but it's definitely not her strong suit.
Yeah.
Probably spent a lot of time in station and colony and
Yes.
headquarter places rather than starships.
Yes. She's probably done a tour or two on a starship, but she spent most of her time in Admiralty staff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I think for now we keep the Da Vinci here and dispatch Lieutenant Venn with the sending ahead the chemical formulation to the Unaneros. Lieutenant Venn, I want you to take yourself and any support staff you need on the Ega Prototype Alpha and meet up with the Unaneros.
And I forget, is this spill is just on a ship or is it on a planet?
It's on the
On
planet.
a system, right? Like across the system.
Oh, it's like a whole
Hmm?
system.
Is it the? We're rereading this.
It seems like it's.
Not a problem.
It's
Oh,
been dumped into
planet,
it.
yeah.
It was dumped into open space, so it isn't affecting Savascast Prime yet. But if it's left alone, it will. The radiation will permeate the entire system. And who knows what that hallucinogenic part of it will do if it spreads as well. That's why they're kind of concerned what it will do with the ruins, because they don't know how this radiation will. They don't even know how subspace radiation will interact with Inheritor ruins, let alone whatever this new problem is. That's why FIS are like, yeah, we need extra help. We can't really deal with this on our own because we don't know subspace radiation nearly as well as Starfleet does.
Okay, I misunderstood. I spent this whole time thinking the ruins had landed on, the rods had landed on the planet, and that's why we were concerned, because they were affecting the ruins. So the rods are just floating in space, but they are affecting the ruins, which are all the way down on the planet.
They might. We don't know.
It might be. We don't know if there's.
They're
Okay.
a problem that
'Cause
is bad, and they're in a habited system that might go towards habited environments, which is
I guess
still
here's
of great concern.
Here's a
So-
question: Are
So-
people on Savascast Prime experiencing any of these mesmeric effects?
Captain Riel reports that they haven't reported anything yet, but they have enacted emergency procedures to prepare for hiding people into the deep waters, and those who can't get to deep water to get to spacecraft and evacuate the system.
Right.
Because they can only move so many people with the amount of ships they have. They just simply don't have the means to move that many people quickly. But they do have like shelter in place procedures to kind of hide people as deep into the deepest parts of the ocean as possible.
I
Hopefully,
mean,
the
water
sea
is
will-
very good at blocking most things.
Yeah.
So
That's their belief too. But just in case it doesn't, it's like, let's move. Some people don't live in the ocean very well. They live in like mountain areas or small lakes and stuff. Like, yeah, that amount of water isn't going to save you. We're getting you off planet and getting you away from here.
yeah.
Okay,
So
So people are experiencing hallucinations. We believe they are linked to the ruins, and we believe they are linked to the fuel rods. However, we don't have concrete proof that either of those chains are
right.
legitimate.
Correction.
We
Just wanted to make sure. So I
Correct.
will raise
So-
the possibility
Sorry,
then-
Corbinian, go ahead.
I will
There,
raise the possibility that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. Just so this is very important. I don't want you to miss it. There are no reports of hallucinations on Savascast Prime. They're just moving
Okay.
before anything gets even close to them. They're doing because the evacuation will take time to do. They're moving people now before it becomes a problem.
Oh, if this
Okay.
costs, I don't know if this would cost a momentum or a separate roll. Would I know if this sort of radiation would impact transporters?
Momentum spend, yeah.
Oh,
It's
we
subspace
doubled that
radiation
because-
alone. Subspace radiation alone would do it. Whatever this new thing is may complicate the matter further, but subspace radiation on its own in a dense enough amount can make it almost impossible.
Okay, meaning that for my away team, I'm gonna want someone who can do shuttles. Got it. Cool.
Yep.
All right, continue. I just wanted to jump in before that got away for you.
No. Thank you for clarifying. I just want to say, okay, so I do want to go to the system and investigate before we start making assumptions that all these things are linked. That's all.
But so far, the only thing we've linked together is that something in the system, which it's the Shackleton, so it could just be any random environmental effect, is
Yeah.
affecting these fuel rods that have been inappropriately dumped and would be a hazard on their own adversely and making the situation worse.
Yeah.
It is
Um,
possible this isn't affecting the. This has nothing to do with the ruins, Captain Rael points out. Shackleton, as Ryloth points out, Centurion Ryloth points out, is rife with strange weather patterns.
The ruins just happen to be
Yes.
present.
Indeed.
That is
I
why
believe that Lieutenant Ven's presence should be able to disentangle these given his expertise in inheritor technology.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
why I
Ven just
believe
sorta-
we should deploy the team as soon as possible.
Indeed. In addition, I would like to know: do you have any specific requests regarding the makeup of this?
No, Lieutenant, you're the expert here. I trust you will assemble a team that can assist Captain Rael to the best of your ability.
Okay.
I recommend a medical specialist for you specifically.
All right.
Oh, I
Do
will
you have
note.
a specific one in mind.
I'll note before you get too far away that there is an ensign Quoxical top of their class that arrived recently.
Flight officer. Yeah.
Right. Although, depending on the nature of things, we may need a dedicated shuttle pilot.
I mean,
Which is more...
that is what she is.
Oh, is she a shuttle pilot? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the mention for medical is your proclivity to be adversely affected by psionics.
Yeah.
All right. I'll look over their record and see if they would be a fit for this mission.
They should be listed under con. They're the only other con option you guys have in support.
Oh no, I see it. That's just Ben saying that in character.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, in that case, I may How wide?
Say again, you broke up.
Definitely lacking.
How many? Oh. How many? Do we know how many are affected?
How many of
people on
what
board
are?
the Ononeros?
Like, yeah. How? Because I was told that there are like people who are like hallucinating and. Or am I misunderstanding and like the entire region has been cleared by this point? And now it's just a matter of cleanup.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 crew of the Ononeros are currently in isolation in their medical bay under a myth shield. The Odoneros is still in system, like they're nearby if you need assistance, but they're not engaged in the mission unless you ask them to do something. Otherwise, though, no one else has been hit. Like it's been very because the FIDF very quickly saw the threat and basically warned all travelers on the QED to go wide. QEC rather.
In which case, my current thought is this: personnel, I might want to bring Dr. Temena along, although I would not want him on a planetary away team.
Her? Pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Her? Oh, is it her?
Yes.
It's
Her.
okay.
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't look super close at her token.
It's okay. They're not real.
Oh, I see how it is.
No, that was just more of like I was pretty sure that was a.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
you were
genuinely
correct.
confused.
Okay. Okay.
How dare you misgender those pixels?
As for an actual away team mission down to the planet's surface, I think Ensign Kobuk would be a reasonable choice considering his pharmacology experience, as well as his knowledge of emergency medicine. While on the surface. As mentioned, he's looking through the file. Yeah. How do you pronounce the con officer?
Hopefully.
Huh?
Hopefully.
Talkly?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. That seems reasonable. I then think.
I will note the Haifa
And-
prototype Alpha can only seat 4 people because most of that ship is engine, and then there's
Yeah.
a little bit of room up front for the pilot and passengers.
Cool.
Were we
Yeah, well, I
supposed
wouldn't
to
want the
use that
doctor to
as
be.
the- Go ahead. Sorry. Never mind.
I wouldn't be having the doctor join us on that shuttle, so it would be Kobuk, me.
Well, that shuttle is the thing that's
Jensen.
getting you to the Outer Narrows.
Oh, okay,
I
never
mean-
mind then. Okay,
If there's only room for 4 in terms of like, is that for seating?
Kobuk.
Question mark. I believe we could fit 8 if they were standing, and if he's doing a quick jump to the Ononeris and then potentially, say, putting the doctor there.
I will
Would
warn
that
that if you're
seem-
above capacity, any task done on that shuttle is an increased difficulty and complication because you're basically sardining people into a very small cockpit.
Yeah. I'm just
Alright.
providing an option. If the intent
I
is
mean-
to not do the actual mission with Temena aboard the shuttle. Although, it would seem, if you're going to be close, you would want the doctor who could assist you to be close.
Yeah, just a clarification. Basically, what I'm suggesting is take the shuttle through the Outer Narrows and then work off the Outer Narrows. I'm not suggesting you go on a shuttle.
No. Currently, hang on. I think I'm breaking up.
Nope, we heard you. Oh, bye. I swear.
Okay, let's try that again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I can hear you all.
Ah.
glad to hear it.
It's gotta be your internet, bro.
That's what you get for not having your own personal satellite. So,
I think it is. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Hold. Who is this?
Yeah. That gets me too, yeah.
What does?
talk about what's in chat. But we can hear you currently. You can hear us.
Yeah, no. It's I'm looking. I'm looking over. Oh, God, I'm looking over all these support NPCs.
Oh, okay.
You can ask for suggestions as well, depending on what you're looking for.
Ooh, you know who? Yeah. Well, you know who might be good? Book
Who?
is probably Touchley as for the pilot. And then it's just a question of whether or not I want an engineer or a security officer.
I don't think this is a security officer kind of mission.
I think you want an engineer because I assume waste disposal is an engineering task. No,
I would
GM,
assume
correct
so.
me if I'm wrong, but I would assume disposal of fuel rods is
Yeah,
engineering.
it would be.
Okay.
At that point, sending along Lieutenant Commander Corella might be a good idea. She's got exotic matter energy dynamics. Or let's see, who else do I have? I think I don't have any help. Kenneth could work.
Yeah, she'd
What?
end up being in charge of the away mission in that regard, because she's tech.
Again, not an away mission. I'm sending you to rendezvous with Captain Oneneros. You'll be under her,
Captain Riel.
Captain Riel.
Yeah, but I
Captain
like
of the Oneneros. Yeah, so you are essentially having a
Halanak.
temporary transfer of duties.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you are picking a staff with which will support you in the duties you'll be carrying out.
You should
And
pick
it's
Kenneth,
likely
though, because
that
I
Captain
find her
Rail will
fun
give
to
you a
play.
rather liberal hand in how you can deal with things.
I think the
Yeah.
question I have is just if I do bring along Lieutenant Commander Chirala, who seems to have a very sweet, she outranks me. So would that make her the mission?
No, the captain of the Oneneros, the ship you'll be on, will be the mission lead.
I wouldn't worry about it too much because you're the player character, and in narrative, you are the expert
Yeah.
on inheritor technology.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them to defer to your judgment.
Yeah, because even if you have a support character played
Cool,
by another
cool.
player who is a lieutenant commander, it's like they outrank you. It's like no, but we're really leaning on you to
Exactly.
tell us what we're dealing with here. Because if inheritor tech is part of this problem, you're the person we need to know. We need to talk to.
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
you
buddy,
can have people that are outranked by an individual following their instruction. The chain of command, as much as everyone's like it's entirely non-flexible, that does happen when
Yeah.
experience or expertise is relevant.
Yeah.
Or if the admiral has said this person's in charge,
because
Yeah.
he's the only one who knows.
so
how
you
to
are
deal with a
overthinking
specific
this to
problem.
death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a
Well,
very scientist thing to do, but fucking stop.
Yeah, you're okay, buddy.
Yes, I am. Well, which is a very though. In that case,
Did he die again?
did you? Oh, did you not get that?
No.
We heard in that case, and then silence.
Well,
God damn it!
the-
In that
so
case,
it's
Charala, Touchley, and Kobuk. Did you get
Cool.
that?
Yes.
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 Where'd Chirala come from, by the way?
I made her the engineer on Halanak.
Nice.
As
Okay,
we
I,
were
was just like,
later
I
on.
hadn't seen them before, so neat. Very neat.
Yeah.
Oh, are they the replacement for Haifa when Haifa got promoted? Or are they the
Yeah.
engineer for the station?
Engineer for the station.
Okay.
And
So-
you are not taking Tamina at all, Ven?
No.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I don't think so.
This
In
will
that
be
case-
remembered when you have a psychic event.
If we are picking supporting characters, I will pick Kovic. Or Kobuk, yeah.
I guess that leaves me with
Of course.
Charala, given a certain dolphin seems to be Thralix.
I mean, I'm fine with playing either of them. I made both of them. don't care, but
You can be your dolphin.
cool, I'll be a dolphin. You know me, I love a dolphin. There we go.
No comment.
Oh, this is so good.
With what I know about dolphins, I could have said
So
something
good.
obscene.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, you could have.
Yep, yep.
And just that
Um,
sentence makes everyone aware.
Absolutely.
Any
Alright,
Garrett
so anyway.
questions?
Oh yeah. Any...
Well, given hazardous material would seem to be involved, hazmat,
No problem.
which I think is just
Um,
EVA suits, but then again, that's been proven to be going
Yeah, maybe not like
dealing with them. But yeah, yeah.
It's free. Makes sense, yeah.
Which wouldn't have anything to do with the mental problems whatsoever.
Oh, they'd be free.
Engineering kit would be obvious for the engineer, medical kit for the guy. They already have those by default, so that's not mentioning.
Yep.
I assume they have those by default.
They do, yeah.
I think that's normally how it goes, yeah.
It'd be part of their standard issue.
Were there any?
Yeah.
Say again, Ben. Sorry, we cut you off.
You guys think there'd be any specific medical supplies that Kobuk would want to requisition special? Do you think there'd be, what's the word? Compounds that Kobuk would want to requisition, knowing the parameters?
Right.
The
There
cytosilene,
is
was that a booster or a downer? I forget.
There is. I'll pull up the
Psilocybin
medical
is the compound inside the brain, I believe.
Yeah.
They use an inhibitor for it.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff that makes you stop psychic. I will pull up the which one? Sciences book and double check. But I
Sciences.
believe there is a medicine that's anti-radiation. Let me check.
There.
Oh, there's plenty of medicines that are
Yeah, I was gonna say,
anti-radiation.
Okay.
But subspace radiation, I believe, I don't know if there is one for subspace radiation. And at least what Rylo's definitely thinking about is what one Ven has more or less passed out every time anything remotely psychic has licked him.
Uh-huh.
And two, it's put several members of the Oninaris crew into medically induced well, it's not even medically induced comas, it's they've been cryoed.
Yeah.
So if there is a way, and it probably couldn't be used on Ven, I don't think you could use it on Ven given he is inherently a psychic as a half beta Z, but something that could suppress it in, say, Kobuk, the dolphin that has an Aztec name, and the engineer.
So here's the thing. I
Yeah.
think I can just do that.
Beg pardon?
You yourself, as in Thralic,
Yeah.
you can just psionically dampen them.
Yeah, I have a
This is
talent called
concerning.
telepathic interference.
I think
The
you have
AR
to do that.
talent. It basically lets me block people from interfering with people's minds.
People.
Well,
If this
it
isn't a
blocks
person, that might be
signals, ability to read minds, sense thoughts, blocks telepathic communication. Like, it blocks telepathy stuff.
You would need to be in range of the person to shield them. So you'd have to be aware that they're of where they are to extend your mind to them. You wouldn't be able to like plant it and let them go like as a subconscious shield.
Yeah.
My other thought is also if it is simply an effect that is amplifying it in people, and that is the consequence, it might not
It might not be able
work
to,
because
yeah.
it's hard to protect someone from themselves.
You could, if you're worried about giving like psychic protection, there are drugs that basically, it's not listed in the book, but I usually call them like psilocybin suppressants. So it's it's the sort of thing they would give to like Dan Troy whenever she was having a really bad time, and like, okay, we'll just blind you that way just to save you from that. It sucks to be you,
Yes.
but at least you're not going nuts, which you can do, which to non-empaths and psychics you just feel a little off. You don't feel good, but it's okay. You don't care because you're being blinded in a sense you didn't really have a good sense of. A psychic suffers greatly because they basically lose a whole sensory organ essentially.
Yeah.
My
okay.
thinking with this wasn't necessarily for immunity, but simply resistance, if that was the best. And Vin might not even take it, because sometimes the solution can be found through that, or not. Also, it would incredibly hamper him if he was affected by this drug.
Yeah.
But it's an option to put on the
It might be
table,
good to have along, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I'll be right back real
that's
quick.
what I was
Yeah,
going to say.
have a hypo of it just in case.
That's what I was going to say. Would it be possible? Cytosylene, I believe it's mentioned in the show, but it's not. Or that's the thing we're being made of. I don't remember, but it's not listed in the book. So yes, could I have, as part of this, some amount of cytosylene in order to, ensure that we don't have problems from this, and then some suppressants along in case we have to shut Ven off.
Oh, whoops. So the second part I caught. The first half I'm thrown. So why would you bring psilocybin drugs? Because if you inject someone with psilocybin, you're boosting their psychic potential.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking
Because
about
psilocybin is, and it's mentioned actually to make it even more confusing for everybody. Psilocybin is a real thing. It does a real medical thing in your brain. It's not psychic. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
But in Star Trek verse, psilocybin is the way that psychic power moves around your brain. It's just a function of anything that has psilocybin in them. It's just that certain configurations of it create sonic effects. But you could give someone an injection of it if you wanted to boost their psychic potential temporarily, or sensitivity, I guess would be a good way to put it.
No, that's not what I was looking to do. I thought it's also what you use to treat psychic problems. No, I just
You
want
sort of
some
can, I guess. I suppose you could if you were worried that if you thought it was dampening somebody, like if you thought, like, it's sort of like it's like giving adrenaline to someone whose heart isn't working properly. It's like, well, if you're psychically dying, if I jab you with a huge dose of psilocybin, it's not good for you, but at least you're not psychically dying.
Inject you with more psionics so you can stay alive is, I think, a thing that we haven't actually had to do. That'll be interesting.
But honestly,
before we get any more off track,
I was going to say though.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's Ven though. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. In that case, I would just like some basic anti-radiation treatments, some EVA suits, and some anti-cytoscience, not pro-cytoscience.
Gotcha.
I would like those three things. Yes.
You want the antibiotics, not the probiotics. Got it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
actually.
a very antibiotic person. I do not approve.
Oh no, sorry. Biotics are in Mass Effect. Different thing.
God damn it, no.
It's adjacent.
I mean, it is.
God damn it.
I will swipe away
I like the setup on that one.
to momentum.
I was thinking of it.
Yeah.
It was good.
So for that 2 momentum,
Sample containers.
For that 2 momentum, before we get there, that will cover the fact that Kobek has a stocked up supply. So you don't have to keep spending to use it. It's just presumed Kobek has a lot. Because even if you didn't spend, I might say you have a dose in your bag, because you'd probably have a random assortment of stuff in a medical bag. But now that you've spent for it, you now have, for the duration of the mission, you have enough of it, sort of thing.
Yes.
You're presumed to have it. Sorry, you were saying sample container.
Yes, sample containers, maybe a specialized method of collecting samples from this kind of situation.
Yeah, because we know explicitly the kind of the kind of samples and the kind of chemicals that we're going to be dealing with more likely than not. So having some specialized containers.
Okay, I'll note that you're getting hazmat sample containers, because you know you're dealing with something that even without the hallucin problem, you're still dealing with something that's intensely subspace irradiated.
So
yeah, prepare for what
sample
we understand
containers with
and
subspace shielding and
Yeah.
We'll prepare for what we understand and figure out what we don't understand along the way.
Yeah.
To loop back to the actual meeting for a second, rather than all this prep, I do want to have Trolloc just clarify to Captain Riel about our plan here. So it's like, Captain, I am going to be sending Lieutenant Ven along with some additional support staff to rendezvous with you. They should be able to meet with you within the half hour. Once they've arrived, you are to proceed with Lieutenant Ven's advisements as to the interactions with Imperator Tech. I believe he's also devised a chemical reagent that should make disposal of the rods easier if the radiation can be temporarily subdued. If you have any
Well, I
further
haven't developed
difficulties,
it. I haven't.
you said
I
you're
haven't
developing,
developed it
right?
yet. I think it just. Yeah, I think it'll.
Yeah, that'll be a when you arrive type thing. Yeah, sorry, I
Yep.
skipped ahead there. Yeah, sorry, so it would be Lieutenant Ven also has an idea for a chemical reagent that could suppress the subspace radiation issue long enough to get the fuel rods into a better location at least. That would allow you to engage myth-type shielding. If you need any additional support, Halanak Station remains at your disposal.
What are my mission directives, Admiral?
Right. I will write out some mission directives. Um,
And
Like,
I might
I
have
think-
something to try while you write those out.
yeah. I think Frolic will, she'll have them off the top of her head. I don't. So, give me a second.
What's your plan there, Ryloff?
Alright, so one of the vessels I note is Romulan.
Mhm.
I'm not going to contact the vessel because that would be very specific. However, that means there's records on that fuel source being used, and if it's being used in the Shackleton, there might be something from the state side or Imperial side that has any record of anything adjacent or similar. So it's basically just a broad sweep in a different pool. That makes sense?
That ship could have that data, I suppose, yeah.
Well, not that specific ship. It's just, well, it's a Romulan ship that uses this fuel device, so there might be others. It would make sense that it's not the only one of its kind built. So is there any data from science vessels like it that have gone in the Shackleton and dumped their fuel cores and have any events adjacent to this to record? Or any unknown effects that weren't related to the core at the similar time as the dump was recorded?
I see what you're saying. Okay. No. I mean, there have been ships that have had fuel rods that they've disposed of and stuff, and some didn't follow protocol, especially Tal Shiar ones, because what do they give a damn? But state ships have done it once or twice. They're not supposed to. They're really not, but it happens. And it's usually old ships, like new ships today, like the Daredex Forward. They don't use fuel rods anymore, especially since you use singularity, microsingularity type systems. So that's not the issue you run into. But older ships have that problem. But they've never had something like this. Like if it did something weird, it did the standard subspace irradiation thing, or maybe it interacted with the planet in a way that isn't unusual. Like it wouldn't be unusual to the Shackleton. It's like if you drop a fuel rod on some M-class planet, you're gonna get some very funky results at the end of it. But this is above and beyond that. Like this, fuel rods aren't known for causing hallucinations and stuff like that, especially in open space. Maybe on a planet interacting with its environment or atmosphere, but vacuum of space, no. Radiation travels, but you don't breathe vacuum.
It was worth a shot. Actually, it does bring a different question, though, because these are particularly old vessels that use fuel rods. And we happen to have a particularly old Romulan vessel that I would imagine uses fuel rods, given it's got a fusion reactor.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen to have a similar or same kind of model. It has to be similar because it's a smaller ship by far.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't happen to have that same kind of fuel system, does it? Or rod system.
It does, but they'd be much smaller because they're basically placed along the length of the ship from fore to aft, and they're kind of What you do is that if you are getting rid of them, you sort of either drop them behind you or you sort of fire them ahead of you. You can't use them as a weapon because they're just they're a kinetic weapon that's irradiated. It'd be like throwing a gas can at somebody from a tank. You could do it, but why the hell would you try? But yeah, you have a similar type system. It's old fashioned. No one likes using it because it makes maintenance a pain in the neck. But
yes, the Rita's like 300 years old.
yeah, it's like, yeah, we don't use fuel rods anymore. There's a reason why. What you need a whole there's a whole extra hour of maintenance time just for each rod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's probably going through lists and he's well, the Rita uses an adjacent manner of fuel rod, adjacent due to its scale, but has, while I've been using it, never had a effect like this recorded, nor has any other vessel that I have access to the records of reported such a incident, or even anything adjacent to it, in the vicinity of a fuel rod dump. However, it does mean that we have access to, or I have access to, fuel rods of the same type that are currently not exhibiting the effect. It could be a very good baseline. And it could be an interesting sample for you to bring along and apply an effect to potentially.
Useful, yeah. It's more data. More data is always good.
That, and maybe take a note of what the local space is like here versus what the local space is over Sephascast. In terms of anomalous Shackleton effects, just to rule that out or zero in on something that might be happening.
Right.
I can have my engineer retrieve a fuel rod. With luck, or misfortune maybe, depending on how we look at it, I might have aboard that ship a fuel rod that is close to needing to be removed.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Hi, GM. I just had that thought, and I was like, oh shit, maybe that's a different way to add to this. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's at least potentially ruling things out.
This and so that won't cost. That'll cost a opportunity because you are grabbing something that normally you wouldn't bother with. On the plus side, at least the Rita gets to do a quick fuel rod swap sooner than normal, so you don't have to do it for another couple of years.
Oh, I mean, yes. So there was one that was close to needing to be replaced anyway.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to replace them like you wouldn't have to replace it for another year or so, but if you get a chance to swap it out sooner, saves you the trouble later. You wouldn't want to leave it past 2 years because then you have radiation leaking into the passenger compartment.
Fair, okay.
You filled up your gas tank when it was halfway full. That's wild.
Yeah. So pull that out, and then I need to clarify that the information regarding the systems that would, fill the fuel rod, as it were, are not classified.
Not anymore. Not for the last 100 years.
Yeah. I didn't think so, but I have to be specific. It's a Romulan.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you, annoyingly, this thing was in service for about 100 years before they declassified it. Because Romulans.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, it's been a century. Who cares?
That's actually on par with America. Things remain classified for 100 years. So
I suppose, yeah. I mean, maybe I'm saying
it's
something.
Not that unhinged, really. And Romulans live longer than normal humans, or than humans anyway. So, anyway, so we'll provide the fuel rod, and we'll provide the the method that it would usually acquire mass. We'll call it, so that if you need to add more to it before you can run a successful experiment, there you go.
So essentially, that's an advantage that you have because you now have a baseline of what a standard fuel rod is. because most Starfleet officers wouldn't interact with fuel rods unless they're part of like home defense or something like that, where they run into old ships all the time. Out here, it's like, yeah, no one uses fuel rods out in the Shackleton. Well, very few people do. That is a better way to put it.
Pending variation that may be notable due to the reduced size of this rod versus the one that's out there. This is a Scale 1 vessel.
It's tiny in comparison.
To be fair, it's a Scale 1 vessel that is almost Scale 2 in size, just because most of the vessel is made up of a fusion reactor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the prototype Alpha, except the prototype Alpha is bigger just to fit its extra big just to fit a quantum slipstream drive. Actually, no, I correct myself. The stupid thing is
Probably
like what?
Equivalent size.
It's Scale 2 with 2 secondary reactors.
Oh, never mind. That's
Yep.
Scale 2. It is bigger.
Yeah.
It's
It's scale 2 with 2 secondary reactors. Exactly. Like normal. That's normal.
It's
I don't know what
more
you're talking about.
it's more core, it's more engine than ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. That is assistance provided. You're welcome. I didn't even charge you
Wonderful.
yet.
Uh-huh.
So, orders received, Admiral. We will stand by for your team's arrival.
Good luck, Captain. And I'll terminate the call.
Sorry, I did go down a rabbit hole there, but I saw the opportunity with a Romulan ship
Yes.
having that rod.
It was a good rabbit hole. So many rabbits in there.
It was that, or try to find a nearby Klingon vessel and pound it,
Yeah.
which might not have gone too well. Smiley face.
So, you have new mission directives, and your safely recover the fuel rods and dispose of them or tow them to a long-term storage location. 2, investigate the ancient ruins to understand source of mesmerizing forces and counteract psychological and physical effects. Current Admiralty focus is crisis response. Everyone on the team, support or main, has crisis response as a focus, due to various reports and Admiralty level updates on the topic.
I would potentially suggest a third mission directive of understanding how the fuel rods have become so dangerous
Mm.
beyond
Yeah.
their normal capacity,
Sure. Well,
which
I thought-
might be counterintuitive to 2, because it may have mean that mesmerizing forces have nothing to do with the ruins whatsoever.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Rylov's on the staff, he can actually suggest this right here, so...
Mhm.
Congratulations. I'm not an
Yep.
adjutant, but I'm here.
Benefits of being on the Admiralty staff, you can actually advise the Admiral when they're actually
Yeah.
giving you the mission directives.
Yeah.
Whereas captains are like, oh, you're stuck with whatever directives the Admiral gave you. They had a big old meeting about it and said, yep, that's your mission, go away. But what if the mission changes on site? Oh, you'll fail some of the directives. Eat crap, I guess. Like, oh, thanks for
Yeah.
that.
It's like, well, that's. I mean, doesn't sound like a me problem. Sounds like the mission.
Sounds like the
Main
captain's
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, just for the record, Rylov hasn't filled anyone in on what happened with the Larita trip. He won't do so until Kovic's here.
Okay. Are we ready to go?
Are you?
We, it's just
I think
him.
so.
What?
Uh-huh. We're ready to send Ven off to die? Sure.
Van, are you ready to go die? I mean, save the day.
Yeah.
Today's always a good day to die.
So, you pile into the Haifa prototype Alpha. It is, as mentioned, more engine than shuttle. But you're able to fit the 4 of yourselves, and your the EVA suits are fitting well enough. The drugs take very little room. Sample containers take very little room. And the Ramen fuel rod data, you just, it's taken out and scanned by Halanak engineers, and then they send out the data up to you. So you don't have to lug those things around.
That's a pad.
If we need to do an experiment, you can send us what needs to be done, and it can be done in a secure environment
Yeah.
at Halanak, probably.
Yep, definitely. Halanak definitely has the facilities for
With strict supervision.
Uh-huh.
So, I imagine the Hive prototype alpha takes to open space. And where do you set course?
To the location of the Onaneros. Well, like a kilometer away from the Onaneros, so as not to phase into them.
Like,
Oh my god.
aim,
If he took
get-
that literally and had us spawn directly on top.
QSD right into the hangar bay.
Yeah.
You're a centimeter off, your nacelles are now in the deck, you explode and die.
Uh-huh.
Like a glove.
Like,
You know, I have always wanted to meld man and machine, not in like a Borg cybernetics way, but just in the sense of I want my organs to be put inside of the warp core as you materializes inside of it.
like literally
'cause-
just throw you in the melting pot and pour you out.
Oh,
the,
okay,
uh,
okay. I was
the
gonna say,
bulk,
because
yeah.
I thought you were talking about, like, when you realized the weakness of the flesh and it disgusted you.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Don't take her for an
Um,
iron hand.
Now, question, GM.
Yeah.
How close would I have to jump the Onaneros to make it a daring con roll?
Contact.
Oh,
Literally on the
God.
deck plate. That would turn it to diff 4, comp 3.
Okay.
No.
Well, only comp 2 because of three-dimensional thinking.
No.
I highly advise
This is why
against
they're
such
staying
a bold
AA,
course
so-
of action. I understand that you want a promotion. I too would like to be higher ranked than Ven, but doing so would pose a serious
Hey.
risk to all of our well-being.
That suggests that Kobit can look at the control panel and has a high enough con to understand what's being planned.
Yeah. What's Kobe's con here? I'm curious.
Oh god, it's not going to be high. Okay, okay.
It's a 2, actually. It's higher than 1.
All right. So
This is-
I think
This is a disaster.
that Tokely is looking at doing this. It's like, oh, mutters something that the translator catches about, if only.
Like, theoretically possible. This is the
Yeah.
only ship in all of Starfleet that could probably pull this stunt.
Yeah, it's like,
I
oh,
mean, arguably the Achilles.
and then
Not
she
into a
says,
hangar bay, it wouldn't.
yeah,
I suppose it
Space
could.
Space dock.
Dink.
into a space dock
Yeah.
it would.
A space dock.
Yeah,
It's just
Uh,
changing the scale of everything.
yeah. No, so definitely has like this this course plotted, and then saves it to a simulator run and brings up the normal course.
Yeah, so that's just a control con diff 3. You can succeed at cost. It's just that you'll fire wide, as you'll jump. You'll come out of the jump too soon.
Well,
If you complicate, you jump right onto the fuel rod.
Yeah, then
I
you have a
can't
whole different problem.
complicate.
That's true. Yeah.
I legit cannot complicate on a diff 1 because I lowered the complication by 1, including to 0.
Because he's a dolphin.
Yeah.
What the f-
Three-dimensional
that's a thing.
thingy.
What the fuck?
3-dimensional thinking, one of the cetacean traits.
Okay.
Lower decks thing, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been the canon for why we have cetacean ops, because they're very good at navigation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, also because they are sentient, but like that's their utility to the ship. I wanted to say they were like navigation. You knew what I meant.
Just stop.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
You're digging a pond right now. Keep going.
Whoa.
Keep going.
Cetaceans contribute many things to the crew, okay? It's just the thing they are known for is navigation.
Yeah,
I
some of
can't
your
dislike
best
them. I
friends
have
are
many cetaceans as
cetaceans.
friends.
Some of my best friends are cetaceans. I think Amazon River dolphins are very cute.
Oh no.
Oh, I think that's racist.
No, oh my god, that's
You're
literally.
demeaning them down to just cute. How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna move to another country. I can
Bet.
Well, yeah, that would allow us to be a more diverse cast.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I just want to get away from people who make fun of me. I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, I'm already 18 hours away from you, and I'm still making fun of you, so it's
Yeah.
not gonna help.
People go
Moon
to
colony. I believe in you.
Mars? Yeah.
Yes, alright.
Helm operations is the focus.
Yes.
Strap me to the
Sorry.
rocket and fire me at Mars.
Oh, give a threat for an extra die.
Sure.
To control column. Increased by 1.
Good times.
Fire. On 3. I could have made it.
Generate 1 so far. Plus I close the damn ship.
I've got the ship.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep.
Far plus 1 more.
Yep.
The engines power up. There's a loud roar behind you as the reactors power up the QSD and then pop out of existence.
Wait, what are you?
We're supposed to use that. What are you meaning?
There was probably the half moment of wait. That looks like a hangar bay you're jumping.
Yes, that is that. Yes,
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
that's what he's responding to. It's like he realizes. Wait a second.
Like, I may not know QSD jumps, but I'm pretty sure hangar decks aren't the target.
I mean, they could be. Once
Technically-
I've got a re-roll talent on this character, she'll absolutely try it.
Technically, the end goal of any flight is a hangar deck.
Right, yeah.
I appreciate your boldness, Ensign, but I believe that your boldness should end where your ability to kill me begins.
They didn't actually jump to the hangar deck, so
Yes, but she's talking about doing it in the future.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in the future, once their capabilities match their
I will keep my capabilities strongly in mind, Ensign, as I continue to block courses.
Oh, I forgot to mark the friggin' fuel rods. That'd be helpful. Actually know where they are on this map.
everyone has bad ideas, and following through on them is a different matter.
Ever hear of thought crime?
Once
No.
once I give it a few shots in the simulator, I'm pretty sure it's a viable transport tactic. Honestly.
Have so many markers. They're the fridge. Like,
They're on the fridge.
Make sure you get permission once you think it's viable.
Naturally. I wouldn't want to violate orders.
Yes, Cadet. While in the presence of an officer much more senior than you, I recommend you don't share your plans for such bold actions.
Oh, that tag means cadet now? Well, good to meet you, Cadet Koba.
I apologize for misspeaking. I did not wish any offense on the newly minted ensign. However, the ideas that you are suggesting are very cadet-ish in their boldness.
Kobik, you're a newly minted ensign. I'm a newly minted lieutenant, junior grade. Let's not do this.
this is the USS Aneros to Haifa Prototype Alpha. Please respond.
This is Hyper Prototype Alpha.
You are cleared for landing at Shuttle Bay 2.
Thank you, Onaneros.
Why do I feel like Commander Chalara is just like, wow, I'm back at the fucking academy because I'm a teacher now.
So
Three
yeah,
junior
That's what this
officers.
is.
Yeah.
it's a new scene, so this moment burns. So I'll note to you at present, this is the Savixcast capital system. Should be able to move us over planets to see class of planetoids. And of course, here is where the fuel rods are and its current radioactive effect. or its distance, I should say. Which I will note, that size, that would cover the entirety of Earth out to the moon. That's
Mm-hmm.
like that radiation's huge, and it's a sphere.
Yeah.
And there are other FIDF ships in the area that are tending to various inhabited stations, research places, mining areas, trying to get people situated. That's their mission right now is more about containment. They're leaving dealing with the actual threat to Starfleet and the arrows.
All right.
Right now, the FADF
And
solution is hide and hope we don't die.
All right. So what's the course and speed of the fuel rods?
Well, that sounds like that sounds correct. Reason plus science, difficulty of current position. That should be that. That's actually a lot closer because the Oneros is kind of outside the system, but they're a lot closer to it than they are other things within system. They only backed off a little. So one, because you're only calculating where it's going. Arguably con, because you're calculating what something is moving. The Oneros would assist with its relevant stats.
Cool. Can I make an argument for con here since I'm determining the course and speed of a obstacle, like a navigational hazard?
No. Even though I put it in there, no. Con was an option already. I was like, what are you making an argument for? I already mentioned it.
All right. All right. I only heard science.
It's okay. No one listens to me
Well,
anyway. I'm just the GM. Don't mind.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're just here to babble something. I don't know. Not really. Not really. No.
No, what was that?
Uh,
Ah.
all right.
Can we see this? Is this like classic sci-fi visible radiation in space, or is this just invisible?
It would be invisible, but on like a screen, you'd see like a bubble situated on the nav map.
Okay.
All right. Focus in 0G operations here.
Yeah. There is a difference between fuel rods drifting through space and drifting through Atmo.
Yeah. Three-dimensional thinking lowers the comp to 0.
I'll lower you to 0.
And I'll spend a momentum on a third die. Okay. Four
Good
momentum.
golly.
6 momentum.
I mean,
And you get a bonus question because
Wow.
it has high resolution sensors.
Yeah, okay.
So
top of the class indeed.
Yeah.
So you were asking ETA till what again? Sorry.
I was asking course and speed of the various fuel rods, which would give me time until stuff as well, but but also should give me like if they are drifting apart or clumping together.
Wow, I haven't seen bandwidth attenuation filtering that precise on the sensors since, well, May?
Yes, I think I remember seeing a couple of the academic prestige awards that you got at the academy. You studied with Professor Ladia, right?
Yeah, you guys know that I have some academic achievements of my own as well. You are, you are not alone in that
I didn't really pay much attention to medical at the academy.
Kidding.
club. He mumbles something about the youth feast days, despite still being a youth feast
Yeah.
days.
So because a 20-something complaining about kids.
I just missed the last 30 seconds.
Okay.
Don't worry, it was vitally important to know.
Yeah, hopefully made a quip about Ven's about having seen some of Ven's academic like accomplishments and uh said something about like, oh, you had this professor too, right?
Yeah. Yes, I did get that. He said, yes, I did have that professor.
Cool. Didn't get a response from that, so. Alright. Box impact in 48 hours. 48 hours. That means they're moving very quickly. And are they staying as a cohesive unit, gravitationally bound together, or are they repelling each other?
For your free high resolution question, I will say that they're kind of clustered together. They're not particularly attracting or repelling each other, but they're all kind of this tumble of rods.
Okay. I guess the question is, are they close enough to be gravitationally attracting each other at all? Or are they, like several thousand
Theoretically, but
kilometers
their
apart?
mass is so small that their effect on gravitational wells is minimal. I mean, it
Okay.
has as much gravitational pull as a large vessel. So there is some, as there always is some.
Yeah.
Not a planet or moon of any.
Got it. All right. Looks like we don't have to deal with a dispersal issue, but we do have to get these things solved fairly quickly because they will be entering into system. They're on a path to collide with the Class D planet in the next 2 days.
Captain Riel steps forward as you've kind of gotten up to the bridge of the Inner Narrows fairly quickly. She says, "Yes, that was why we were concerned about getting assistance from the Admiralty as soon as possible. We presumed either the Da Vinci or the Haifa prototype would be able to get here fast enough to render further assistance. Because once it makes planetfall, our job becomes immensely more difficult."
Well, you certainly are in luck, Captain. We are very acclaimed officers, all of us.
Who to glance over to Kothik.
That is a sigh from Lieutenant Commander.
Riel raises an eyebrow and just leaves it alone. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna poke that bear. I'm just.
Right. Well, I believe we should begin right away, unless I'm missing anything.
I do not see why not.
Well, shall we begin with the chemical reagent to potentially neutralize the radiation effects?
Agreed. See what I can come up with.
By your leave, Captain.
You may have access to Workshop 25. She nods to kind of casually dismiss you. You get the feeling Captain Riel is not nearly as buttoned up as most officers. She comes from a Bajoran line of officer school, so she's a lot more loosey-goosey than most Starfleet is.
This is why the Lieutenant Commander's here, just to talk to the captain.
All right. Well,
Yeah, if the captain yells at us, you know who she's yelling at. What? Me. Please don't get me in trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta get a clock in front of you because time is of the essence.
Oh no.
So what was it?
None.
There was also figure out what local environmental effects there are
Yeah.
to see if that might be a factor. But that's if you can determine what the actual problem is, and then go from there. However you want to tackle the problem, you tackle the problem, and we will help you tackle it and give you suggestions.
What?
I would like to physically tackle the problem.
Okay, well,
Ben, you're a
No.
Klingon?
torpedo tube, we can load that and put you in an EVA suit.
Yeah.
And really,
EV
it would
suit,
just be like doing a
torpedo.
very fast flyby at impulse and then torpedo you out towards it. So it's doable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if
We
that's
just,
the plan, that's the plan.
yeah.
Personally, I think I'm a better torpedo than this biped, but
Well, you also don't have the necessary means to tackle.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's called a nose bump.
It's called arms. You don't have arms.
It's charged.
Never been a problem before.
Came up in a security question, as I recall.
Yeah.
Have you ever tackled anyone before?
I mean,
Hey, you would
You
know.
just
You
gotta
would
flop
know.
on
She
them.
did. She was an excellent water polo player in the academy. So, their physical prowess is not to be underestimated.
It's not, physical prowess is not being underestimated. Physical action, a single physical action is.
The tackle does end up involving a kind of a repeated collision and then just kind of like trying to lay down on someone, I think.
Yeah. like Talara could boop something with her nose, would be nowhere near as effective.
Exactly.
So, it's a give and take. We both have things we're better at.
I can bite people a lot better than you can, for example.
Let's not test that one.
I mean, look, what you do in the privacy of your quarters is your business.
I mean, we can both swim,
There is that.
actually very well.
Aquan. Oh yeah.
So, to formulate this particular compound, we'll take. You can, at no extended task, you would get it done within a certain amount of time. Actually, no, I'm thinking the other thing. Sorry, mixing things up. So, it's an extended task. Each attempt will burn through an hour because it takes you time to sit there, test, retest, double check, triple check, and then yes, we can move on, sort of stuff.
And can I get a quick reminder as to what each of those 3 clocks refer to?
Your mother, father, and your sister.
Wow.
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost?
There are. I said something super. If I said that in French, that'd be incredibly rude. Anyway, so that would be 24 hours, and then that's how many ticks of 24 hours have gone by. So if I tick to 1, that's the first 24 hours. If I tick to 2, that's 2 24 hours, which is the 48-hour period for impact. So if the first 24-hour ticks by, this will move one zone, essentially.
Got it. Cool. Okay, I follow.
Sounds good.
All right. I guess I should just take my first shot at it.
Yes. I mean, clearly the easiest way to divert these is find an asteroid and throw them at it on a collision course. That'll push them away.
You could shoot the lab, control security, difficulty 1. It's not really moving.
Testing a theory into practice.
I don't think you've done this before yet. Oh, you have looked into this particular field, though, and that's all it cares about. Nope, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how broad that is. It's really powerful.
It is.
But it's also like, well, as long as you preamble what you're doing, it makes other stuff easier.
A lot of the science talents are just so broad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and getting the full the full force of testing a theory into practice requires 2 whole talents.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, unlike did the reading.
Oh, yeah. Fuck me.
Now imagine if you had did the reading and those other 2.
God.
Yes, Moses.
I am going to spend 2 momentum for a 4th die. Just so I have the reroll. Focus of chemistry again.
Yep.
Fancy Pants McGee here.
How do you spell chauffeur? Chauffeur.
Yeah.
Well,
What the fuck is all those? That's the most crits I've ever seen you roll at once.
Rigged.
Successes, I mean. I've seen you roll that many crit fails.
Refloat. You owe me 6 challenge dice. Won't be a thing
Hold on.
And I
anymore in
don't
second hit.
believe any
Wait.
of us can
Ha!
reasonably assist him.
You totally can. It just gives you more hits.
and
but-
that's.
Oh, I was
that's-
just
and
wondering if
that's-
any of us had more than a science 1.
And that's 1 bonus momentum as well.
Oh, it's true.
Actually, she's
rolled
got a
untapped
science of
potential.
2. Oh, she's a control of 11. Do you want the commander's assistance? With a 13.
Sure, why not? Yeah, you're an engineer. It tracks that you'd be
You know,
working with me on
exotic
this.
matter and energy dynamics, potentially.
Yep. 100%.
There you go. I didn't change the name, but... she's a plant.
That is
That's another
5
success. There you go.
bonus momentum. So then that's what? That'll be 6 challenge dice.
Do I wonder what they're going to do for extended tasks? I imagine they'll do it the Dune way in sec.
Maybe.
Just a flat number you get every time, plus something.
Yeah, I think that's what they said.
5.
It's gonna be. Okay, spending 1 for the reroll.
7, 8,
I
9.
believe it was something they didn't like the randomness of you could succeed at a task but fail at the challenge dice.
That's what momentum is.
Okay. Yeah, so then spend 1 momentum to eat the resist,
Okay. That's
and then pump the remaining 3 into work.
10, 11, 12. That creates 1 magnitude and puts you to 12 of 14 work.
I'm gonna hang on. You know what?
What? What you gonna
I'm
do?
not gonna spend any. I'm not gonna spend any out of the pool. I am going to. I know it's in here. I've got medals.
Oh, yes.
Starfleet Medal of Honor with cluster once per mission. I gain 2 bonus momentum on a successful task.
Yep. Very good.
So I spend my cluster.
And
So I
that,
still have another
yeah,
use
you-
of it. And that just gets me 2 bonus momentum, which I immediately spend to get 14.
So in the span of an hour, you rapidly are able to assemble the relevant chemical construction and are able to program it into the replicator.
Okay, that looks about right. Now I think the next thing is we have to determine a reasonable dispersal method.
Torpedoes.
It's not
Yeah, that
actually
could
a bad
work.
suggestion.
Yeah, like it's not a bad suggestion. I think honestly, torpedoes is the way.
Mm-hmm. We're just gonna have to figure out a way to tune the what would effectively be the warhead yield, so we get an even dispersal.
Yeah, I mean, photon torpedoes already have a variable yield.
Okay, just to double check on me, who's head emptied, what is our current plan here?
Chemical agent,
Uh,
disperse it with torpedoes, fracture these things so that they're not on a collision course with the system.
Yeah, right now we just need to get these things.
Yeah. Okay, so we're currently just trying to divert them before we investigate them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Specifically because if we hit them with this. If we hit them with this chemical mixture, the Onaneros can shift its shielding to myth-type shielding, which hopefully should work against this weird mindfuckery better than their radiation shielding, which they previously had, but they couldn't like use both at the same time.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just like, I got lost somewhere. I wanted to clarify.
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah,
happens to me never,
no.
so why? I don't know.
I was gonna say I was actually I was close to that point as well, Rylov. I was like I feel like there's a little bit of connection I'm missing. I feel like I'm at the I feel like I was in a steel step 1 steel underpants, step 2 step 3 profit.
Yeah,
It's definitely just if I didn't understand what we're doing, I can't suggest something to help. So,
exactly.
Yes.
but yes, okay. Different general plan, trying to divert them through.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep, I think we good. Well, now we have to handle the torpedo solution.
Yeah, that's probably an engineering thing.
Fire torpedoes is a security thing most of the time.
Yes, but modifying the torpedoes would be
modifying. Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we now have to put this mixture into a torpedo and set the torpedo. Oh god damn it! It's a security thing.
Because you're dealing with a warhead yield.
Yeah, this isn't a security thing.
We
We don't need to bring a security officer.
To bring a security officer with us, it'll be fine.
I actually have decent security.
I have a security of 1.
I have
She's
a security of
not
3.
I have a security of 3 and a reason of 11.
You're 1 better than I am, but you have definitely more resources, so you should take this.
Like, she can help.
But I will assist, yeah.
Okay.
I'll note that you can try again, but it eats an hour. Because it takes an hour to get it set up and get it calculated. But if you screw up, you're like, well, the worst that happens is you screwed up and know that you didn't calculate it properly, so you have to waste another hour figuring it out.
Yeah. Unless you complicate, in which case you don't have to worry about rolling again anyway.
Yeah, you have a whole different crisis.
Yep. I am going to spend 3 momentum for 2 extra dice.
You would.
Because... Okay, that's 3.
No. Oh, I was going to say, could I argue for an assist of, if reason engineering, if not control engineering, just for being the steady hand doing the thing?
Definitely as an assist.
Yes.
GM, could I meticulous planning assist here?
Yes, this was brought up at the meeting.
Hit it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Dice is dice.
Dice is dice. I'll re-roll that.
Complication.
There we go.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
Yes.
So you're able to get the attenuate the warhead's dispersal pattern to the appropriate yield relevant to the chemicals, so it can cover, because you're trying to get it to disperse over an incredibly vast area, but still you want to maintain concentration, so you're not just making it 90% of it go out into open space to nowhere.
Okay, and what's going to be the roll to actually shoot the thing?
Oh, you know that's security.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I figure probably control security. It's a question of what the difference is going to be.
It's probably also we report to the captain that we have torpedoes ready, and then
I mean, at some point you probably had to be asked for, can we just tinker with some of these to here's the solution we have outlined. Like, there's the whole permission aspect.
As you know, we are very acclaimed in
Uh-huh.
No,
Starfleet.
sh- sh-
May we
silence.
please receive some torpedoes now?
We also have a requisition for a gag.
Ease off the gas
and
there,
zip
right
ties.
off. Yeah, no, you're able to. You can either have the crew of the Unaneros fire the shot, or you can be the ones firing the shot. Because you're not. She's fine with you guys doing this as part of your mission. Firing a torpedo is fine,
Yeah.
and the ship will assist with its weapons, obviously. And she moves, and the difficulty 3 presumes she's going to move back to effective range and then back to where she was. Because why make it a diff 4 if she doesn't have to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do we want to just do this ourselves?
I mean, I think it's a. What's the highest control security here?
I got a 13.
Okay, so you'd be rolling the same as the crew of the Unaneros then, and you have
Mhm.
more resources as a player character, so I think it makes sense for you to
Yep.
take lead.
Yep. I'll spend 3 momentum again, keeping my determination in my pocket for if I need it. Oh! Huh, you know what? This will actually come in handy in this instance. Courageous volunteer trait. We could be asking the Onaneros to do this, but no, we'll do it.
Yeah, no, I'll take that.
Cool. I'm gonna roll. I do not have a focus on this one.
The crisis response trigger?
I still roll the 1.
Oh my god. Today is your day.
Yeah.
5.
I say, cursing him.
I gotta show off for the new ensign. and be as impressive as all the Academy stories say I am.
Yeah, you got to impress your fellow Earthling.
That, or you realize that Talora's not here to save you today.
It's a lot easier to do
Rude.
death-defying things without the net. You see, makes you more brave. Please use safety equipment, everybody. But yeah, no, you fire the torpedo. You time it such that it detonates, because torpedoes are designed to not detonate at just shy of impact or a little after. But you're trying to get it detonate a tiny bit early, so that way it kind of poofs itself out into the field. And yeah, no, you've dosed that entire area with this very dense chemical. Whatever subspace radiation in there, it's still there. You wouldn't want to be, if you were on a planet somewhere like within 100 kilometers, you would want to be in a suit still. But in a starship, you're fine. The hull alone will take care of it.
All right, we should raise the Onaneros.
We're on the Unaneros.
Oh,
Probably on the bridge
Whoops.
right now.
yes.
Yeah, that's where you fire the torpedoes from, buddy.
I'm tired.
It's okay.
Decent shot,
Okay.
Lieutenant.
Right.
Could have gone a meter to the left, but then again, you're not trying to hit a ship, so...
Oh, you know,
Right,
Ven, he's always a meter off target.
Captain gives Kovac a look like, what? And then looks back at Ben.
Kovic like awkwardly wraps an arm around Ven and smiles and says, "Oh, don't worry, Captain. I'm just joking."
Fine. What is our next steps, Lieutenant?
Ven, who is currently a bright shade of red, whether it's frustration, anger, or embarrassment, you can't quite tell.
Or something else, who knows?
Yeah. Anyhow.
Kovac Ven ship, let's go. Anyway, what?
Yeah, you should. Oh yeah, there are definitely people who slash fix.
It's not like I like you or anything.
Baka. No, God damn it. Stop it. So,
Anyways,
yes. At this point, we should switch over the shield type. You won't be needing the radiation shielding at this moment, although it'd be a good idea to keep it on a backup in case the chemical solution proves to be insufficient.
Well, the concept of a butter zone that was in the briefing you gave us seems more attainable now.
We'll dose most of it in primarily with the myth configuration, but let's keep primary shielding to, looks over at a security officer, 20%? That should be enough to catch any residue. And if not, we can always adjust on the fly. So the question becomes, how do we adjust for whatever the mesmerizing field was? I still don't know where that came from. Doubt it has anything to do with the subspace radiation. I mean, if it does, I have a greater misunderstanding of subspace dynamics than I thought.
It shouldn't have.
what would be the role to make that analysis? Is that medical or science or?
You lack sufficient data. You don't know what's causing that.
But what we could
Okay,
do.
if I wanted to know where that was coming from, could I? What kind of thing would I have to do to analyze that? Study the
Okay.
patient history or?
It'd be insight medicine difficulty. We'll call it 4. And you'll be assisted by the ship, because some of the local staff will try to help Kobek out and go like, okay, well, here's what we think. Here's what we figured out so far, but you help us get the rest of the way.
Can
Right.
I assist?
Certainly
Can I
can.
assist as well?
Okay, I'm rolling
It's not
insight
my
medicine,
greatest
which is
thing, but
13. A focus in diagnosis, considering this is about trying to figure out what is wrong in this scenario, or is that too far ahead? Because it's trying to figure out
Ooh.
how to figure out.
Let me think. I'm trying to think about diagnostics. Given what you're looking into, it does apply. You're looking at at exposure vector. Yeah, so it would apply just barely.
Okay. Okay. GM, I'm spending my determination on the value, greatness in the making, on the grounds that, of course, I'm going to be the one to figure this out because, well, I'm just, I'm a future hero of the Federation.
It's also a good value for Kobik to have future hero of the Federation.
God.
All right, GM, you're looking a little thin on threat at current. So why don't you have? All right, so I already spent 1, so that'd be 2 momentum and 3 threat for 4 dice. No, it would be.
And he's good.
That sounds right.
Yep.
And he's got some. Man, I keep forgetting that Kobik has some of that Boimler energy to him.
So it does.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 7, 8. Sorry. Ship.
Oh yeah.
More. I lost number. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 off of 4 generates 3. You make some guesses as to possible ways this could be coming from. Most things that have a sonic component to it, unless it's some sort of hyperspatial being like a Q. A Q could do it too from the other side of the galaxy. So that's something you can just. If it is that, there's nothing you can do about it. So don't worry about it. You just set that aside for now. So more concretely, it is something that is it isn't affecting you now, so it has to be coming from since it happened to the crew as they were approaching the rods. Like they sent a shuttle out to get to the rods and kind of tractor them away. Like they didn't move the Ornaris closer. They moved a shuttle up, and the shuttle was going to pull them. That's when something happened. So that means it's somewhere in this line. That's either the Class P planet way out in the outer system, or the Class D planet that it's heading to. It might be affected by. It's possible that there's some sort of artifact or ruin on Savascat's Prime that's causing it. But I can tell you for sure, it isn't coming from the other class, the Class L planet, or two gas giants. That because that would actually.
Wait, did you determine the orbital path of those those rods? Did we determine that the orbital decay on those were natural?
We did not. We just saw the path and speed. We didn't determine whether it was natural or whatever.
Or
That might
actually,
be
I'll point
worth,
out the obvious. It could be coming from the rod somehow.
Okay, so what? I'm sorry. Could you just repeat again so I can write down what are the 3 planets it could come from? Oh, the ones you've circled. M, D, P. Okay. Um. Okay. Then I will. And which one is Havoc's Gas Prime? I assume the Class M, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys could see that. That's my bad. Sorry. There you go.
There we go. Okay. In that case, yeah, while you were working on the torpedo, this is what Kovic was working on, and he will say, I believe the source of the hallucinations can be tracked down to one of these 1, 2, 3 planets, the Class P, the Class D, or the Class M, unless, of course, it is being emanated by the system itself, or the radioactive rods themselves.
That would require a very abnormal shift in the rod's chemical makeup, and such a thing probably would have interfered with the chemical solution that I concocted. So given that our concoction worked, I think that that's fairly unlikely, but we can't discount it completely.
I don't. From what we know of the effect, I don't believe it would have affected the chemical composition. It's possible, but to say that that's a measure of ruling out options is slim, given we're in the Shackleton. There's
Right.
any number of unregistered phenomenon.
One bad storm, and suddenly we have a spirit or some hyperspatial hitchhiker.
The oddest thing would simply be if that miasma, as it's been described, was not in fact from any of these locations, but rather a anomaly simply in that location that was passing through. I'm not saying that's something we should chase down, but on off-brand possibilities that could be there in the Shackleton.
Well, we're talking possibilities. We need to start narrowing it down.
I'm not terribly
What
keen to move.
Suggestions.
I will say I'm not terribly keen on moving the outer narrows any closer without knowing what the source is, and if we can. The shield may do it, but if we don't know what's causing it, then maybe putting the entire ship at risk.
What is this Shackleton doing around us at the moment? Might be wise for you, Ven, to investigate that. See what is unique here.
Hang on. Okay, hold on.
because from an engineering standpoint, we have one baseline of a different core.
Yeah.
We have the baseline from Halanak Station of what their regional Shackleton space is. We don't have a baseline of what the Sabascas space is like.
Okay, would this be a sensors check?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Chip will says.
Science. Div 3. I'm gonna spend 3 momentum.
3.
Meticulous planning.
Part of mission directives, yep.
Wow.
Guidance focus.
6 on 3 is...
That's 6, 7.
You
numbers are
get
off
an
now.
initial reroll if you want to fish.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Did fish. Good lord.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh my
9
god,
on
that
3 generates 6.
wait, are the ships rolling single dice again?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I think new ships roll single dice.
Okay.
Yeah, because I believe the Romulan ship was also rolling single dice.
Yeah. Like the ships that are having the problem are still having it, but new sheets, I think, don't.
Oh,
That seems like bad. 2 effects.
Mm-hmm.
Me no likey.
Don't like a
there are intense electromagnetic disturbances and gravimetric eddies that are arcing all across that quarter of the system. Like, it's not in system, but it is like just off the map all the way that way. So it's entirely possible there was some electromagnetic or gravitic eddy effect that drew these things into system. Because electromagnetic eddies could cause strange electronic forces or influences on the rods. Gravimetric eddies could have pulled them off course. They may have never been intended to come at the system at all.
I see. Well, that explains why they're here, but it doesn't sound like the current phenomenon is consistent with the actual issue at hand.
You have 3 free questions. 1 because you're science, and 2 because of the possibly 2 more because of the bonus momentum.
It doesn't specifically sound like, at face value, it does not sound like those should produce the effect that we have had reported. But we do have the means to test that. Or not us here, but we could report back to Halanak and have them do tests.
Yes.
It wastes us no time.
Yeah. See if those particular gravimetric readings, when applied to various control systems, would generate this kind of an effect.
For your... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so she's just saying she'll get on communications with that.
For your free question, I can answer that, and you'll get a lot more detail than you otherwise would, because you literally just do a quick QEC call and go, "Hey, Halanak, can you test something real quick?" Yeah, gravimetric eddies and electromagnetic disturbances. That's probably why they're clustered together the way they are, and that's probably why the radiation field's a lot more intense than it might otherwise be. But yeah, you're right. That wouldn't have caused any sort of psionic or psionic-alike trait. The Shackleton is strange, but it doesn't come with it doesn't generally come with pockets of psilocybin, generally. So unless there's some other third factor that those two, the electromagnetic and the gravitics, didn't cause the extra effect.
Okay.
But it is now ruled out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And with the 2 bonus, you guys want to just create an advantage, maybe?
Yeah. Mm.
That we have like a really good theoretical baseline to work from now that we've eliminated like the
Not sure
whole
how I'd enforce that as an advantage is
of
the
the
problem.
I'm thinking. I'm let me think. Let me think. Because we've basically just eliminated the Shackleton weirdness as a cause, correct?
Yeah, you've pushed it, you've identified what effect it has, and it doesn't relate to the sonic effect or the mesmerizing
Uh,
effect.
This might be an advantage if it makes sense. But that through this scan we've acquired enough information that you can essentially scrub out what is Shackleton background noise from our scans. So if we're looking for something else specific, it might be easier to try and isolate that from what is currently ongoing in
Mm-hmm.
Shackleton around us.
You could do
Does
that,
that
yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
That gives me something concrete
Yeah,
to
I'll take
hang my
that.
hat on. Yep, I'll take that.
Cool. Well, in that case, that's that roll. Okay, now that we've confirmed that it isn't anything Shackleton in general, that narrows it down to one of these four options. Um, I'm thinking of leaving the radioactive, the 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 rods themselves for last. I think that's the least likely thing.
Hmm.
All right.
Strange science.
And we know Cyrus Cast Prime reported nothing wrong on their end.
Right.
So if it
So
was
that
coming from Cyrus
means
Cast Prime, it's where things meet, which would be at the rods, is for some reason the problem,
Mm-hmm.
which is
so it's
unusual.
probably the Class D, the Class P, or the rods. What's Class P? Is that a gas giant?
A glacial planet. Think the homeworld of the Andorians.
Let me just.
Glacial
Okay, cool.
planet.
And that's the one that it's currently crashing towards.
Wrong direction. Going this way.
Oh, it's the Class D is what it's crashing towards. Okay, so here's the interesting question. Um, okay, I have a theory of sorts.
A game. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking it too. Um, so here's I brought up earlier about whether or not it was the trajectory was natural. That's something I think I want to determine now. I want to determine if these rods are being drawn to the planet, or if something set them on a specific course, or if it's just total happenstance. Because how big are these rods again?
They vary. They seem to relate to ships as small as scale 2, upwards of scale 4. So think that, but a rod,
Okay.
and it's from front to back, aft to front. Oh, to aft, sorry.
Okay.
Aft to stern, whatever.
Yeah.
Brain, right.
Front to back. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I want to sound all nautical and stuff, because...
Yeah. Because I mean, to me, my thought is they're decently sized.
Yeah,
They're decently sized, but they're still on a collision course with just a planet on astronomical terms. That's an amazing coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Um uh Totchley, think you might be able to work this out? Work out these
Yep.
trajectories?
Easily. I'll
Right.
take.
See, cadet, with that attitude, you'll go far.
Take reason. Con, zero G operations.
Say again, sorry?
Zero G operations as a focus.
Yes.
Three-dimensional thinking. Um, I'll
I think
buy
I'd
a
like to
third
assist.
die.
Say again, sorry?
Momentum.
Reason con.
I'm buying a third die with momentum.
Roger. And yes, you can assist.
Astrophysics.
Yes. Oh. This and did this and this. Gained one.
We're back to 6.
It seems to be so what the calculation basically is that it's these off. New illustration. Okay, sure. So basically when it got caught by the ice planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was starting to go here, would go this way, and then the gravity well of the sun starts pulling it this way. And then it gets close to this planet, and so it's going to go like... So it's just following, based on the calculations that were done previously, it's following the bend of space-time, basically, the gravity wells as it's... The only reason it didn't hit the ice planet is because it was coming at it at too oblique an angle, so it just kind of... It just got slingshot around it. Which, if it went a certain speed faster, it might have gone... more like if it went like this, then it misses the system entirely.
Right.
But because the
But
gravimetric
as
eddy
far as
happened
we
to pull it into that perfect pocket, it kind of got pulled into this disastrous course.
Okay, so as far as we can tell, then that's the fact that it's getting drawn into that planet is just totally random, like total coincidence.
For momentum, I can add something. Actually, high resolution sensors. I don't have to. You can get it for free. According to the high resolution sensors of the Outer Narrows, this required because of how
I think Ben just disconnected.
Well, it's because I hate him and I kicked him.
Oh, well, I think that's mod abuse?
I guess I'm going to kick
I'm
you
not
now
sure in
for
which
questioning
direction, but
me. Kick all of you. Question me not. Just remember when he gets back, we all just nod sage and go, "Yeah, that makes sense."
yeah.
Just tell him the mission succeeded.
All right, yeah, so that makes sense. A good explanation, GM.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, we know. Someone warned me you popped off. I was like, "Whoop, I'll stop."
Yeah.
Yep. I heard this is what you get, and then
nothing. So the high resolution sensors tell you
sensors
that so basically these, like, when you trace back out of system, the rods, when they entered into through that gravimetric eddy, that was like, it's one thing for something to tumble through space and just happen to hit gravity wells in a certain way and happen to fall into things. I mean, meteorites and comets do that all the time. Sometimes they go wide, they do all kinds of fancy things. And astronomically speaking, it bingoing a planet is not completely unheard of, especially when there's this much stuff and it's kind of in an unnatural course. Unnatural in the sense that it's not a comet, it's not a meteor. This is some idiot dumped this stuff out here. However, when you toss a gravimetric eddy into that equation, that's like throwing a bunch of sticks into a washing machine and then waiting for it to spit out. These things should have scattered like a shotgun blast to a 360-degree ball. They didn't. They stayed in a tight cluster. So
Then
they are currently following a naturalistic course, but they did not begin a naturalistic course.
so something drew them together.
Via the gravimetric eddy.
Maybe it's some kind of magnetism. So I don't know.
I've heard all of that. I will be right back.
Insert Magneto joke.
I'll draw the iron from your blood. That's not how that works.
Different kinds of iron. You know.
Reject
I
women,
mean,
embrace
yes, but
magnetism.
also, inhuman mutants with the ability to manipulate magnetism in the earth also aren't real. So I'll give them a pass.
Says you.
Actually, they can't be Inhumans and mutants. Those are
Oh my God.
incompatible forms
Marvel
of
themselves-
metahumans.
Shut
Marvel
up.
themselves have
I
said there's
will.
basically no difference between them. I'm not going to have this argument.
Uh,
So, you have this information.
Absolutely metahumans. Yeah.
So as it stands, we actually haven't gotten like a good scan on these rods yet.
No.
Nope, the rods themselves have not been scanned. You just fired some torpedoes at them and said, well, chemistry says that should have worked. I mean,
Theory into
well-
practice says that the theory was solid.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, now that they're stable, maybe we can get a better scan on them.
Yeah.
Now that, I mean, again, now that they're not throwing like a metric ton of subspace tearing radiation through the system.
Now it's just reason science difficulty 2. It normally would be lower. It is heightened because even with the chemical bath you gave them, there's some interference that's still happening. Thankfully, that all that bad weather is out there, not in here. So you're not having a +4 to the roll.
Yeah. Plus, we made an advantage for it.
That's true. Yep. You actually
a bunch of that out.
So you actually peel that back down to diff 1. My bad.
I'll spend a momentum.
A fancy schmancy moment. Does anyone say schmancy anymore? Is that a thing?
I do. Oh, I say it all the time.
Well, not other than you. Normal people, I mean.
Oh.
Well, I'm not normal either, so.
Cool this episode.
I don't think any of us here are the correct demographic to ask if something is normal.
I don't think people who play
Mhm.
TTRPGs on a weekly basis are in the normal category.
Yeah.
Oh, what? No, I'm perfectly normal. What do you want about?
You're not.
Okay.
How dare you?
Get out of here.
Oh, and plus the ship. The ship tells you. Did you? Yeah, you did. I'm smart. I'm paying attention. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I wasn't worried until you made me. Now I am worried.
2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 on 1. Generate 4. You monster. Which is way too many. So, boop, boop, boop.
And +1 for science officer.
Well, for purposes of obtaining information.
Yeah. Oh, and there's also the high-res sensors, right?
Yep, that's a free question as well. I don't bother
I
putting
get
those
2
out
free
as
questions.
momentum things because they're narrowly focused.
Mhm.
Whereas these are free use.
Mhm.
I could have phrased that better.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
the hell was I gonna look up? Right. My notes on the silly ROM. What? Oh, whoa, way too far. Let's look at the notes for the friggin' doctor from episodes ago.
Oh wow.
I wouldn't have helped us right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Nah.
Mm.
So, from what the scan, so the initial scans do confirm that yes, these are subspace radioactive, fully spent, actually overspent rods. Like these things were irradiating the people who were using them for a while. These were being used for way longer than you really should, because even for a military vessel, like a Romulan military vessel, they hang on to these things for 2 years and swap them out. They don't like hanging on to them because even with all the best shielding, it doesn't matter. It'll just permeate everything because eventually the radiation spreads to the metal, and then the metal becomes radioactive, and the metal around it gets radioactive, and it just cascades. And so you do confirm, yes, these are fuel rods. Yes, they are radioactive, so that makes sense. There are some exotic energies that seem to be stored within it. So these things do have waste plasma and waste subspace radiation dumped into them, but there is some other exotic energy that indicates that this is not a standard species, like in the sense like this isn't Federation, Romulan, or Klingon. Like these three major powers, very well, is even their history. So there's something else these were used for. Maybe it was for fuel, probably was, but there was something else that was being. And it does seem that there is a psionic energy that is emitting from them in a wavefront that basically affects anything within close range, close to contact range on a interstellar level. It does look like it is expanding. So if you wait for 24 hours, not only will it change one zone, it will expand to affect not just its zone but all neighboring zones. Further, they aren't connected in any way. They are bundled together by, if I grab a bunch of sticks and throw them through space, those sticks will stay relatively together until they bump into each other. So if these things are
Ben's
knocked,
gone again.
well,
Kill him when he gets back.
yeah.
Well, murder time, I guess.
Where'd I lose you then?
Okay. Furthermore,
Oh, good. Furthermore, they are they are close together. So but their configuration, their cohesion, if you will, is loose. So if they are knocked a certain way, they will scatter. So yeah, those are the big things to know.
okay. So we know it's not one ours or any of the major powers. Does this exotic radiation signature align with anything on Federation record?
Yes, Breen.
Oh, fuck.
Huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, given what we know about Breen technology, do we know what use the Breen would have for fuel rods such as these?
So that's your second free question.
Yep.
If it was just this, well, there's two reasons they'd have this. One, it's an older ship. Because even the newer Breen ships don't work off of fuel rods anymore. They haven't used fuel rods since before the Dominion War. So it'd be an old ship. But here's the second part of it. Perhaps if these were tied into like the weapon systems, which that's possible, maybe that's how they used to energize their Polaron emissions. But that's a different waste system. You like that'd be like firing your phasers and dumping your waste energy into your plasma collectors. Like that's throwing your spent.
Asking for trouble.
Well, it's unnecessary. It's odd because it'd be like firing all your bullets and then throwing your bullets into your gas tank. Like you could do that to get rid of the brass, but why would you do that? There's a million other things you could put them in the car that aren't the gas tank. It's probably not even good for the gas tank, but it won't destroy it or nothing. It's just not good for it. So it could be weapon aligned with their Polaron beams, but it's likely tied to some other system that's engines dependent. That's why you're getting the exotic energy signature.
Okay, do we know what? I mean, again, our knowledge of Breen tech is probably limited, but do we know what engine systems generate these kinds of radiation?
I will point out that I don't think you were here for this, Ben, but on one of the recent episodes, I think the one before mine, Laura was able to take a bunch of readings of a Breen ship as we traveled inside of it. So I don't know if that would be of any help.
It would be. So for momentum,
Yep.
so
Momentum, you can ask for that.
in certain records, of which the source of which is classified to you, Ven, you're not entirely sure why that is. But thankfully, this relevant data does come up that there have been, according to certain intelligence sources, scans of a slim sensor silhouetted Breen vessel. This type of exotic energy would coincide with attempting to maintain a slim sensor silhouette with a Breen vessel.
Oh, that's why.
And that's what they need the fuel rods for?
Well, the fuel rods are for an older ship, but say you're trying to manage your power structure a certain way and keep your ship cold, like the Breen like to do. Well, you now have extra energy that you need to waste. You need to account for, which that goes into the fuel rod now when it normally wouldn't.
Oh.
So
It acts as a storage medium for all their waste energy, and then they just dump it.
Right. Can't track me if I just dump all my excess energy. It's kind of like what the Victoria does, except the Victoria hangs on to all of it. Well, they warp it across time.
They put it. Yeah. Whereas the Breen literally shove it in a physical object. Interesting. Oh, that's super interesting. Okay. I'm gonna have to. Okay, I'm gonna have to let it means there's a Breen ship with advanced stealth technology that operates by shunting excess exotic energies into spare fuel rods as a storage medium, which they then just dump.
Their version of the some sensor silhouette. Starfleet ships can do the same thing, but their waste disposal is a lot more nuanced, so they don't run into that problem.
So, the next point of contention, I think, is the psychic energies. How is this creating psychic energy? Is it possible that this combination of a storage medium and exotic energies is maybe acting as a carrier for some kind of a psychic presence, whether it be a full consciousness or just residual energy? residual psychic energy?
According to the scans, that doesn't seem to be the case. Sure, dumping excess life support energy and coolant chemicals and stuff like that would account for the exotic particles, but the sonic impression doesn't account with any of the intelligence or anything that's known as the Breen. Breen aren't even known for being terribly psychic, for that matter. Which for why that is unknown, but this is whatever this sonic phenomena is a recent event. Because it's nothing the Breen themselves could have done. It's not something that they're really capable of, unless they have access to some sonic device, but they're not known for using those things. That's more of a Vulcan tactic. Or Starfleet tactic by extension.
But you did say that the psychic phenomenon is tied in to the rods?
The rods are emitting a psychic wave. And that's growing.
In addition to the weird exotic particles and the radiation.
Right.
What the hell did they do?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a kill two birds with one stone thing, where they know they have to get rid of these excess heat rods, so they like turned it into a bioweapon? That's my only guess. It's like, well, if we're going to deposit them, we might as well deposit them in a way that harasses our enemies.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I think more than anything, we need to nail down the exact source of these psychic waves within the rods.
For momentum, I can help with that to a degree.
Yeah. Because right now it's just seeming like it's these psychic waves coming from the rods from, like, nowhere.
So scans indicate that the rods themselves are storage mediums. They're not power cells or fusion cores or anything like that. They're bits of very long metal that you dump energy into and that retains that radiation and heat. They can't really independently power themselves. They don't work. That's kind of the benefit. They're dumb rods.
Right, like that's what I had said earlier, was were the rods acting as like a storage medium for some consciousness.
I will say it would seem, based on what Starfleet knows about psychic phenomena, that this wavefront coincides with something. These are acting like an amplifier. But it's an inadvertent amplifier because they're too chaotic. You couldn't purposely make them do this, but it seems they are doing this because psychic energy is going at them. So
I see. They're acting as a repeater antenna.
why
They're
not?
acting as a psychic They're acting as a psychic repeater. Uh-huh. Meaning that there's a weaker signal somewhere that is... Oh, okay. Might we be able to effectively do a ping back? Maybe determine, like, because we figured so the psychic energy, is there a directionality to it?
For momentum, I see
Or
what
is
you're
it
saying.
just radiating? Yeah.
The low-level energy is
Draw a
coming
line.
from the Class D planet.
From the planet's surface?
Within it, yes.
Aha. Okay. Captain, I think we have our source.
that's strange. Savascast don't
know.
have any psionic facilities. Unless
Indeed.
this is more of your tech. She gives a pointed look at Vin.
Look, none that I know of, but let's be completely frank. The list, the list of powers and races that have developed technology capable of generating psychic emanations is a long. Whatever's generating those psychic waves down there could be just about anything.
How do we counteract it then? I mean, the shielding will be fine, but we may be exacerbating the problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, best option I'd say is probably to send down an away team, try to localize the source, and figure it out from the ground.
Very well.
Aneros into orbit. Yeah, get the Aneros into orbit around the planet, and worst comes to worst, you're just gonna have to try to tractor the rods manually and hope that what we've done, the measures we've taken, are enough.
According to your scans, it looks to be within the planet somewhere. You want me to just try to beam you straight to those coordinates, or you're looking to to survey the planet and look for a way down?
Well, now that the radiation has been dealt with, correct?
Well, on the fuel rods, yes.
Oh, but there's still
Well, the planet you're going to is a Class D planet. There's no.
is I'm just talking about for the purpose of beaming down. There's no
No.
longer like the hostile radiation that would increase all the difficulties and everything.
That was only localized near the rods. So it wouldn't affect the planet, no.
It's gonna depend on how far beneath the planet's surface it is. If it's particularly far down, trying to get down there with a shuttle would likely be uh, risky. Get us
Very well then. I'll get
close enough.
I'll get into orbit and we'll get the engineer to calculate transporter viability. The Onaneros enters orbit. A new scene begins as you get closer to the rocky world. The Onaneros makes a courtesy ping to the local FIDF ship to let them know that they're here as part of the mission, and so on and so on. The FIDF ship in area is helping get miners off the planet and off the mining station in orbit. And then the Onaneros transporter chief does a calculation. Be on a pad. You're not going to a pad. Rock. Pretty deep. Control engineering difficulty 5 for the Onaneros to beam you to your location. No,
because it's so far underground. Is that
it's far underground. There's no pad where you're going, as far as they know, and you're beaming through solid rock, which is not ideal for when you're beaming people. So it all adds up. If there was a radioactive field here or something, it'd be way higher. It'd be practically impossible. But at Div 5, it's possible, just difficult.
might we be able to requisition some pattern enhancers?
For an opportunity, you could, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's carrying the enhancers? Put it on the Delph and see what happens.
Who's going? Are we all going?
Yeah.
Presumably so.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'll carry the emitters. I'm
No.
like
You guys all have more
tiny.
direct jobs to do. I'm playing medical support, so I will hold on to them.
Sounds good.
So you think Charala is up to this task?
Of a Div 5 control engineering beam?
Yeah.
She doesn't have a
Would-
focus.
So first things first, let me get a better scan of the site. See if there is a way underground.
That is no focus, no rerolls, no
Yeah.
I'll do some more in-depth scans first.
Size Div 2. Chip will do it what it can do.
Gonna spend a momentum for a third.
Up, 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 up. Well, that's not a true comp, thankfully.
Oh.
1, 2, 3,
Oh,
and 4 generates 2. You do, upon scanning the planet, you do see that there is a cavern entrance that, after a bit more scanning, you're able to kind of map it out to a degree. It is theoretical that this this cavern system would eventually lead to the site. If not directly, at the very least, pretty close. Close enough for digging to be viable.
Deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
Are just all these inheritor sites just gonna be freaking under?
You try scanning for
That is
something
a
that's under
reliable
10
means of
kilometers of
hiding.
rock.
Should have brought the geologist. Well, what do you think, Captain? Should we risk the beam down, or you think we should take a shuttle down?
Well, actually, she might come up with an idea. She has a 13 to the roll. No focus, but if she gets 2 hits, she'll come up with an idea.
Take a momentum. I'd say it's worth a shot.
I'm gonna burn away 2 threat. And you're spending a momentum for an extra die?
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Someone can assist her. She did get at least 1 hit. Insight con. She's trying to hit difficulty 2 to realize something.
Meticulous planning.
Yes. Yep, because you wanted her to... This is why you asked her to help. It's like, well, you might know something they don't.
Yeah, she has a reroll now from advisor.
Generates 2 momentum.
Cool.
Okay.
This reminds me of the the first site you found. You might be able to do a quantum slipstream jump to the bottom. That way you don't have to fly the shuttle in at all, and you just simply jump to the very end, and you need
That's
to dig...
genius.
Exactly. You have the best pilot the
We did
Academy's
do
put
that
out
last
lately.
time.
I do
I
read
think I
the
can
mission
make that
reports.
jump. Let's see. What's our most detailed scan of the depths there?
Points at
Kind of like, move over to the science station and start taking a look.
and plus con difficulty of 3 to make a QAC calculation to see how viable this jump really is.
All right.
I'll assist.
So will the captain.
Helm operations.
Yeah.
Cool.
A-
Three-dimensional thinking.
Astrophysics.
Yep. And yep.
Let's see, where's the phone? Yeah. All right. I will buy a third die with momentum.
What is this?
Yeah.
Buckley's good. Top of the class, indeed.
Not a true comp.
Okay.
6 on a 3, generates 3. It generates 8, not removes 3. There we go. You see that similar to the first time this stunt was pulled, it's the diff 3 jump. There's barely enough room to fit your shuttle in there. But thankfully, the prototype, the Haifa prototype Alpha, is a scale 1 ship, so you can tuck that thing into a lot of places it normally couldn't go. Wait, it's type 2. Sorry, it will barely fit.
it's a
I
scale
correct
2.
myself. It will barely fit in that space. That was kind of the problem last time.
Here's a thought though. Spend that float and one more to create an advantage that we've done this before, and we have some already existing data about doing this exact type of...
Yeah, totally.
I mean, the prototype has literally done this of jumping into a cave.
So you just look up the nav log and go, hey, it's done this already. It's already kind of pre-programmed in. I just have to adjust some variables.
Yeah. All right. Well then, Lieutenant, shall we get to the prototype and head down there?
It's either that or we blind beam you through rock.
I think I'd prefer to pilot us down there. All the same.
I believe I would prefer, I don't know, a nice massage and Romulan ale, but we don't often get what we want now, do we?
No,
Cadet,
we don't, Kobuk.
Cadet, I'm putting a lot of faith in you and assuming you can make this piloting check.
Ensign.
Please don't let me down.
Kobuk.
Ensign, I'll remind you you're speaking to a commissioned officer of Starfleet. That is an ensign you're speaking to. Disrespect your fellow officer again, I will reprimand you.
My apologies.
To your shuttle, then. Good luck.
We'll head off and start prepping the engines.
It explodes. It was actually a car bomb the whole time.
Oh no!
about time I
Kobek
set
doesn't
the
want
bomb a while ago.
competition.
Hmm. At least 5 hours, yeah.
So yeah, to jump down into the space will require daring or control plus con. Difficulty would be 3, it's dropped to 2. Assisted by the engines plus con of the shuttle. Underneath really can't help you with this. They don't have QSD systems, so they can just go, yeah, we scanned it. Good luck. We can't really help you with QSD jumps.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even a QSD equipped ship, so.
Daring. Con. I love language.
You have an interesting love language.
uh,
I just love charts. No.
I'll buy 1 extra die with momentum here. Just to be on the safe side. I don't have a reroll. Well, I might have a reroll, but you know.
All comps, let's go. Yeah, that's not all comps. You let me down.
Sorry. Engines con. 29. I mean, it looks like a comp. Is that enough?
No, it's just wearing a comp's clothing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for that fake comp stuff. I like the real stuff. That's a little tag.
Yeah, it's only a real comp if it comes from the Complication region of France.
That's just called Paris.
It's really funny.
Helps if I put it in the back layer. Yep. Nope. With a QSD jump, you find yourself deep within a cavern with facing a rocky wall.
All right, it'll be a tight squeeze getting out of the hatches, but you know, just don't think up the paint job too much.
Sounds good. Right, everyone, suit up.
Lieutenant, do you want me with you or keeping the shuttle prepped and ready to go?
Yes. Keep it your communicator. You're gonna want to keep an eye on the shuttle. And start preparing for the jump out.
Yes, sir.
So a trio of you suit up and exit your shuttle.
Sounds right.
So it seems.
Thus you stand in a cave. Your headlamps on your heads, as well as the lamps that extend out from the shuttle, light up the space. You see the grand twisting cavern. You get the feeling you couldn't have flown this shuttle in conventionally. It gets really narrow very fast by about like so many meters. Yeah, you'd be running into stuff if you tried to fly out the normal way. So flying in would have been just straight up impossible. This ship's way too big. Even a scale 1 would have been scraping its hull on the way in. And that's if it was forcing itself through. But yeah, you're near wherever that signature is. You just don't see it. You see wall. You see rock wall.
Ven is going to approach the rock wall, put his hand up against it. Takes out his tricorder, starts scanning.
What are you scanning for?
Inheritor tech.
You no roll. You detect inheritor tech. You're so close with a science tricorder. There's no way you'd miss what that is.
And I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yep. It's here. How far off?
About
Or am I, like,
2.5 meters.
just through this wall?
Mm-hmm.
And this wall is rock.
This time it actually is rock. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have to see if we can't find a stable point to drill through with our phasers. If only I'd brought the geologist with me.
Insight engineering difficulty 2 to figure that out.
And Chirala,
Yes.
Lieutenant Commander, you think you can help me determine the best focal point to aim our phasers?
Potentially. Let's see. Potentially xenotechnology or exotic matter dynamics.
That actually applies because the building's so close to the rock. It might be influencing its stability.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Nice. Diff 2 will give you threat.
Oops, give me a threat.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a threat too if that's an option. Like, that's
no.
a no, Chief. I mean, technically, can mission a directive spend, but I mean,
Yeah.
I probably
You
should. I probably should.
You might wanna.
Just, mission directive number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's worse.
Come on! No way! The chances!
I don't even know what to say to that, man.
Yeah.
I took your roles for today, man. You're welcome.
So, as the lieutenant commander, you don't do scans or anything because your training kind of tells you that maybe scans will do something you don't want it to do. So you do a lot of just studying the rock, shine your light here or there, try to puzzle out what exactly this rock might be. There's a certain widespread things that you could presume about, well, rocks in general within planets. Iron is iron, carbon is carbon. Doesn't matter what planet you're on, it's all the same. It's all the same periodic table. Unfortunately, you get a little too engrossed in this topic, and everyone's pretty engrossed in what you're doing because they're watching the experienced lieutenant commander do an in-depth study because, you get to learn something here. This person knows a lot about this. That's when rocks start falling from the ceiling and colliding with the away team and the shuttle.
Oh no.
Oh my god. Are we getting a rocks falls, everyone dies?
Well, it's not guaranteed. I actually have to spend resources and
just
roll
thinking
and
that.
stuff. I mean, I guess I could just kill you all, but that's no fun. I like rolling math rocks. Modifius. I mean, what? Sorry. So I get 4 of that for you. Thank you. They.
Well, I mean, I clearly almost had it, like...
God. This is gonna suck. Oh no.
Whoops.
Long threat. Oh no. Oh no.
I got the chances of that were
Yeah.
so low, but...
Yep, yep.
7 challenge dice with vicious and area. The first person it's
God.
definitely hitting is Tarala, because Tarala's the one who's right up with the rock wall, and then it's gonna balloon out away from her as people start seeing the rocks fall, and you're like, oh crap, get away, quick.
Yeah.
You only had 2 days left to retirement. Sorry, what?
Oh.
God, she wishes.
And reroll fails, because why not?
Fuck.
Yeah.
One, 2, 3,
Uh-huh.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 stress.
I am burning both of my Starfleet decoration of gallantries.
One
Okay,
to
we should
take
do
it
this in
down to
order,
7.
right? We should do this in order. So first it's right, Lieutenant Commander.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she has nothing she can do about that whatsoever.
Okay.
Question: does this just instantly kill her?
Does it fill her stress track?
3, 6, 7, 8, yes.
-1 because you have your Eva suit on.
I think it still
She
fills
has
it.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way she doesn't just insta die is if you spend 2 to avoid injury, and if it turns a non-lethal into just a lethal into a non-lethal.
Oh yeah, okay. We'll have her not immediately die then.
Right, so that burns 2. She just gets
Jesus.
buried in the rock. The only reason she isn't dead is because the suit is sturdy enough to save her. We'll go with Kobuk next.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the supporting characters don't. I've already used my determination. Kovuk is, he didn't think this was going to happen. Okay, so 14 stress damage. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so that more than fills my stress track. Even counting the Eva suit. And I don't think there's anything I can do about this because cadets don't have milestones, or not cadets. Oh my god, supporting characters don't have milestones. I just keep using the word cadet today.
The only way he saves himself from death is spending 2 resources to avoid the lethal injury. He gets the non-lethal no matter what. That just happens.
No,
Damn it,
yeah.
sure.
As tragic as it would be for Kobuk to die and therefore forever have succeeded in his goal of annoying Ven by dying under Ven's command, I'll spend 2 to keep him alive.
Okay, so Kobuk gets buried. I'll put them down here because they're buried. We'll go with the shuttle. The shuttle takes that much damage. Minus the resistance, that's still a breach.
Jesus Christ.
And that's 2 breaches because it took damage with the shields down, because why would your shields be up down here? And you You took damage. You took any damage while your shield was down, and you took at least 5 in one go. Thankfully, you're a hero ship, so I actually have to roll to see where I hit the shuttle. But, good.
Luckily, one supporting character was inside the ship, and therefore, you know.
That's why I was like, oh
Yeah,
no,
then-
someone's actually in the cover of the shuttle. Oh no. Mind you, if the shuttle blows up, then, well, it doesn't matter. If it blows up, you're all dead anyway.
Yeah, if it blows
Yeah.
up, we're all dead.
I mean, just rolls like injured crew inside both of the breaches.
Oh, structure. Structure engines.
Ooh.
Structure
Now you have to roll to see if the one person inside gets injured.
Thankfully, the ensign gets banged up pretty darn bad and get pretty bad scare, but because yeah, your shuttle is half damaged. I think that's not disabled, but damaged. Your engines are damaged and your structure is damaged.
Yeah.
Oh.
So one for each of the engines, one on structure.
Yep.
Cool.
For
Wonderful.
all, we're never letting you do anything ever again.
Well, I mean, visibly that wasn't her fault.
Yeah, that was just a
She was
weird.
just-
The world just happened to have a tectonic shift at the exact wrong time. It's like, when would that ever happen? We would have sensed it. You're right, we would have, but we've never been here before, so we don't know the tectonic history of this place. Oops.
Slightly
Yeah,
distracted.
It's possible that we could say like the warp of the ship and the burning of the engines and our movements caused some slight destabilization that then like dominoed itself into a complete collapse of part of the cave system. 'Cause, you know,
Sure.
if no one has been here before, then I guess it's possible our presence destabilized it more than we thought it would.
It could have just been the sudden appearance of the ship.
Mhm.
Mhm. Shockwaves
Uh,
from
And I'm
displaced air.
spending. Yeah, and I'm spending both of my my medals to only take, I think, 3 stress.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm still awake.
Good.
Ow.
Maybe you can get on board and transport the others on board or something.
What did I say? I
Taking
said
your
structures
choice.
and
You said structure and engines.
engines. Yeah, your ship's bleeding power. Thankfully, you have 2 secondary
Mhm.
reactors, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see Charla and Kobuk get buried under the rock as Ven, you barely dive out of the way, and you see the shuttle get pelted with large rocks, which that's largely what probably saved you. You just had the presence of mind to dive under the shuttle. You just had this bad feeling of I better find cover, and then dink 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 dink. It's like ooh, that could have. You're still kind of hurt. You did get bumped up a little, but yeah, no, you're not buried under all that rock
Wait.
over there.
Lieutenant, are you all right? Can't see you anymore.
I'm all right. Are you able to open the access hatch to the shuttle?
Yeah, opening it now. The others, I saw them go down.
You can actually see on your
I'm
little
gonna need
status
your help
bar
to-
their EVA suits are still functioning, but barely working.
They look to be alive, but just barely.
We have to get them out of the rubble and into the shuttle.
I'm trying to keep us steady and not disrupt this cave system anymore, Lieutenant.
All right. Just hold it steady. Ben is gonna go up to Kobuk
Am I unconscious?
and attack.
Yeah, Kobuk's buried under rocks.
Okay. So I don't know if you can go up to me. I guess you can geolocate using the sensor where my body is, but when you have to
Yeah.
dig through rock.
Yeah.
I forget the shuttle doesn't have a transporter, does it?
It would have like any shuttle. It would have an emergency one. It's not great. You can beam like one person at a time with it.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
So that would
And
be.
oh, guess what? Kobuk has the pattern enhancers on him.
Well, yeah,
Huh?
in a bundle, they're not even activated.
Oh my
God
god.
damn it.
Can we spend 2 to say that the rocks hitting happens to perfectly hit the button on the thing to turn it on?
See, if I were mean, I'd take that and then chuckle, but I'm not going to do that to you because that wouldn't work. For them to work, you have to set them up in a triangle and stand in the field. If you just
Yeah,
turn them
I
on your
know.
back, you'll be able to transport the rods. I mean, if you wanted to recover the rods easier, that would work. But it wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
pick
well-
up the person any better.
To hell with Kovac, I just want the rod.
You're just using one of their charges just to get them back. They're
Got it.
expensive. I have to sign them back in.
Yeah.
The quartermaster of that
so-
ship's a huge prick. I don't want to get in trouble with him.
Okay, point being, I want to try and beam Kobuk out of the rubble.
Control engineering difficulty. They're not on a pad. They are going to a pad, sort of. They're buried under some rocks. It really? Oh, it gets worse. That's not diff 4.
Ugh. Oh,
That is diff 6. Because your engines are damaged, so your power systems are fluctuating all the time. Wait, no. Wait, I'm lying to you. I'm lying to you. I'm lying to you. Because it's not the engine system that's helping you, it's the sensor system. That's diff 4, because it's sensors plus engineering. My bad. So it is diff 4.
okay.
I scared myself. Sorry.
All right.
And I would say, oh no, you might run out of power. This thing is full of power. You're not going to run out of power before you beam these people out of there. I'm not even going to bother calculating it.
Yeah, we have 16 power
Okay,
at base.
Yeah.
So that's more than in most starships.
Mm-hmm. Kind of needs it for the QSD jumping.
Yeah.
It is still diff 4 though, because it is a pretty
I am
complex mode.
going to. Oh wait, I'm doing it to buy the die that hits the 2. I am gonna spend uh, five. It's
5 threat? 5 threat? How does 5 threat
Yep.
work?
I want to get this
I mean, 6?
because
mean
I had
6?
to spend my determination.
Oh, I
No,
didn't
'cause
hear.
I'm spending my
Oh, yeah, yeah.
determination to.
Got it.
Yeah.
A determination to what, sorry?
So I have 2 free hits. I think quick on my feet.
Yeah,
I'm
5
trying to
threat.
get them out.
I got you.
Okay, yep.
That alone gets it
that's
plus the ship.
2 momentum on the board.
Or the shuttle, rather.
Does the shuttle assist?
It totally does. It has to.
Yep.
Mostly for comp check, honestly. Which, that is not a true comp. But yeah,
Not a true
Kobuk
comp.
is beamed safely back to the shuttle. Yeah, Kobuk's
Okay,
suit looks really
I'm
banged up,
immediate-
but he's not dead.
Okay. And he's not
No, given enough time, he'll come out of it now that he's in the safe confines of the shuttle. He'll have to do some quick repairs on the Eva suit or just grab a spare in storage, but otherwise he's fine. That is to say, at end
Okay.
of scene, he'll recover all his stress.
Yeah. Ven's
So I am
gonna
conscious
sort of
now.
care.
Yes.
Yeah, then Kovac will
Ven's gonna
groan
sort of-
and say, well, what happened?
You took a nasty hit. We're currently buried under a bunch of rock. Hold still. He sort of pushes. He sort of helps get him off the pad. Sorry, I gotta get you off the pad. Chirala's still buried under there. And with this, I'm also going to spend my other Starfleet Medal of Honor to generate 2 bonus momentum, which I'd like to spend to create an advantage that now that I've beamed someone through this rock, I'll have a little bit easier time doing the next one.
Easily done. Easily said.
It's like riding a bike.
Yep. Okay. Here's milestones. No, I've already spent that one. Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna spend 2 momentum, and then I am going to roll. I'm going to use my medal, the Starfleet citation for conspicuous gallantry,
Mm-hmm.
and roll 4 challenge dice, and see how much threat you get. You only gain 2 threat.
Good.
But I'm now rolling with a full hand. Whew. There we go.
Dip was 3, generate 2.
And just roll for the ship. We'll see if I need to spend the... Who knows? Maybe I'll need to spend the med to quash a complication or something.
The ship.
Oh, hey! That's
General more.
another hit. Uh-oh.
The rocks, bereft of their weight, shift and tumble, and then the cave shudders, rumbles. It's almost like the entirety of the planet comes crashing down upon the shuttle. Thankfully, you're inside it.
And then the
But we are now
chorus.
buried. We are now completely buried alive.
Buried alive.
Cool.
Buried alive. So on that happy note, everyone, don't worry, they're not dead. They're just a little buried. It's fine. For everyone watching, thank you very much for watching. For those of you playing, thank you very much for playing. And we shall see what will happen to this intrepid little away team. And the captain has some explaining to do to the admiral about how she managed to lose not only a prototype shuttle, but also an entire away team. So yeah, look forward to that. Have a good one, everyone.
You let them do what?
Bye.
Oh god.
Perfect storm of complications that thread at the right time. I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do here.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, no, it was great.
Perfect time for people to get certain support characters killed off, too. That totally could have been a TOS moment. Like, we just let a couple support characters die. Like, holy crap, at least 2 support characters could be... This could be 3 people killed right outright and just mission fail.
Yeah.
Hey, at least the main characters don't get to be yelled at for not doing proper preparation. Because hey, they get their they're gonna get their reputation and everything.
Exactly.
Now a certain mission commander is gonna get yelled at, but you know he's a star officer.
Awesome.
He'll be fine.
Awesome.